Good evening. We're going to go ahead and start the Planning Commission meeting. If you can please rise and I ask Commissioner Morales if he'd lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, everybody. Please face the flag, right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you all remain standing on there, I'm going to open up with a prayer. Good and gracious God, as always, we want to thank you for the many blessings you give us each and every day of our lives, the blessing of our faith, of our family, and of our friends. And tonight, as we gather as your community, we ask you for the strength and the wisdom to do what's right for your people. We thank you for the ability that we have to share what we have with others, to minister to those you place before us, but most especially to pray for those beyond our reach. As we come together as your community tonight, renewed in love and united in faith, in your name we pray. Amen. 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 Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. I'm there. It's good to see everybody. May our Planning Commission Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Commissioner Lujan?
Present.
Commissioner Sakali?
Present.
Commissioner Morales?
Present.
Vice Chair Guerra?
Here. So,
Chair Uva? Excused.
yes, and I'll get into that in a second, why Chair Uva's not here. So this is the time set aside for oral communication from the Planning Commission. Does any commissioner wish to make an announcement, report a conference meeting, or request any items for future agendas? I'll start on the right here, sir. Oh, the other right then, right.
None for me, sir.
Okay, great.
And none for me.
Okay, great. Commissioner Morales?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Chairman. Last time I was going to bring this up, but we had a big crowd. I chose to carry it over. But since this is getting a little worse by the week, I noticed that in the high-density area, I've seen a lot of cars parked in the corners. And I think maybe we need to paint the curbs red just to remind them that you can't park in the corners, blocking the handicap ramps or access to pedestrians. And those corners are the southeast corner and southwest corner of Western and Florence, the southeast and southwest corner of Lorena and Florence, the northeast southeast corner of 6th Street and Western, northeast and southeast corner of Lorena and 7th Street, and the northeast and northwest corner of Western and 5th Street.
Okay, thank
That's all
you.
I got. Thank you.
Okay, great. There's some corners that I've literally called the city before, and it's actually legal. And it's kind of like, really? This is legal here? So good evening and welcome everybody. I wanted to say a few words about my absence from last meeting that some people have brought up, and I just feel it's important for everyone to know. I was disappointed to hear from a few of you, more specifically a letter from Mr. Gomez, how I had let down the residents of District 3, the city of Downey, and Treasure Island specifically at the last meeting by not being here. And I took exception for that for a few things, and I just wanted to clarify. First, at our meeting in February, this item was originally on the Planning Commission meeting that night. I stated when it got polled, not by the Planning Commission, but by the applicant, that on April 17th, I would be out of town. In my role, I'm the civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army, and I was scheduled to be at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I was part of an observation group for the 160th Night Stalkers, the Screaming Eagle exercise that's 21 days long. I never knew this item was going to be on the agenda until just a few days, just like normal, like it comes up. I was literally out of town when the item came up on the agenda. In 8 years on the council, I never missed one meeting. And this is the first meeting I ever missed in the Planning Commission, and I gave everybody 2 or 3 months. So I'm sorry, I took exception to Mr. Gomez's comments, which he shared with many people on your email, on the No on 33 condos Gmail address. So I get back and I get that email telling me how I let everybody down. So I apologize, I had nothing to do with that. Just like tonight, Miss Uva is in Sacramento with the Realtors Association, and she brought up that fact on the February 20th meeting, I believe, the same night that I brought up April 17th, that she was going to be gone on May 1st. She's part of the, for the Realtors Association, she's part of the Government Affairs Committee. She even tried to catch flights back earlier tonight, and there just wasn't. She can't land until 8:30. So this was an excused absence in many ways, just like mine was last time. So please don't look at it any further than that, why she's not here. There's only one answer, and that's it. So please don't look at any more than you will. And I hope this kind of clarifies some things on there. I wouldn't miss any meeting, and I apologize if anybody thought I let District 3, the island, or the city of Downey down, because as you know, I've worked with the island for many years, and I take exception because we've done a lot of things together, especially when literally at this location with the unity in the community, when we helped build Treasure Island Park, we had 14, 15 meetings there that I had with Treasure Island. So Treasure Island is near and dear to my heart. So when somebody puts in writing and sends it out to a whole bunch of people that I let them down, I take exception to it. So I just wanted to clear the air. So, okay, so we have no presentations tonight. So does the Community Development Director have a report on a city council action or any general updates that you may have?
I don't at this time.
Great. So this time we're going to have a public hearing. So now is the time set aside for the public hearing. PLN 23-00035. It's a general plan amendment, zone change, site plan review, tentative track map, and density bonus for a housing development project located at 7360 Foster Bridge Boulevard. Does staff have proof of publication?
Confirm.
Great. Will the community development introduce staff in making the presentation?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Guerra, for the introduction on this item. Before I introduce staff, I just wanted to provide a little bit of background on tonight's item. Item number 7 is a public hearing item, and I think most of us will remember that this application was heard by the Planning Commission at its last regularly scheduled meeting of April 17 of this year. After considering the evidence and testimony provided at the public hearing and following deliberation by the Planning Commission, a motion to approve the project failed with a 2-2 vote. A tie vote results in no action being taken that evening, and it is neither an approval or rejection of the project. And a separate motion was also made at that meeting by another commissioner to reduce the number of units, but that motion was withdrawn after a little bit of deliberation. Therefore, with the motion to approve 2-2 and a tie vote, no recommendation to the City Council could be made. Because no action was taken that evening, the item can be considered again by the Planning Commission, and the applicant, the Olson Company, has requested that this item be re-agendized for the Planning Commission's consideration, which is tonight's public hearing item. Under Government Code, due to the legislative item being requested, that being a general plan and a zone change, the Planning Commission is required to take action on this type of item before it proceeds to the City Council. And as I mentioned, the project applicant submitted a request in writing requesting that this item be agendized for tonight's meeting. So with that, I will introduce the staff who will be presenting tonight's background information and project description for this project. First, we'll have Abraham Luna, our associate planner, provide a brief presentation providing an overview of the various components of the project, followed by Giancarlo Gandini of the traffic analysis company that prepared the traffic impact analysis for the project, and then that will be concluded again by Abraham Luna on the project description. Following staff's presentation, we'll have a short presentation by the Olson Company, which also includes a slide deck show, a PowerPoint presentation, and from there, we'll turn it over to you, Chair Guerra. Thank you.
Good evening, Vice Chair Guerra and members of the Planning Commission. For your consideration this evening, we'll be discussing the proposal for a new residential development. This application is a request for a general plan amendment, zone change, site plan review, tentative track map, density bonus, and CEQA studies. The applicant is Stephen Almarino, a representative of the Olson Company. The application is a request to construct 33 townhome condos. The project includes 30 units allowed per the Downey Municipal Code and 3 additional units allowed per density bonus law. The 3 units will be sold at an affordable level of moderate income. This is a more in-depth breakdown of the different applications, which we will go over individually throughout the presentation. So first, we have a general plan amendment to modify the general plan land use designation for the site from low-density residential to medium-density residential. Secondly, a request for a zone change to modify the existing zoning from single-family R1 to multifamily residential R30. Next is a site plan review to analyze the design of the structures, layout of the site, and compliance with the applicable municipal codes and state law such as density bonus. And next we have the tentative tract map, which is required in order to establish parcels for townhome condos. And lastly, the CEQA environmental review for the project. The site is a total of 1.35 acres and is located towards the northwest part of the city at the northwest corner of Suva Street, Bluff Road, Foster Bridge Boulevard intersection. Also near Rio Hondo Riverbed and the Treasure Island Park. The existing use, there is 1 building on site. It is a church, which is 8,489 square feet in size. And the structure was constructed in 1959, and no major renovations have taken place since that time. Here is an area of the site and its surrounding. The area surrounding uses include single-family homes to the north and east. There is a light industrial self-storage to the west, and a non-conforming multifamily residential to the south. Here's a separate area to provide an additional view. And here's an image from the site from the intersection of Foster Bridge, Suva, and Bluff Road. As previously mentioned, the project involves a general plan amendment. The site is currently designated as low-density residential, which would only allow 1 unit under current development standards. An amendment to change the land use designation to medium-density residential would allow multifamily construction with a maximum density of 24 units per acre, and in this case for the project, 30 units. Here's what the general plan currently looks like to the left, and to the right is the requested amendment. Along with the general plan amendment is also a zone change to modify the zoning from R1 single family to R30 multifamily ownership. R30 is one of the corresponding zones for medium density residential general plan land use designation. The R30 exclusively allows for sale units rather than apartments. The zone change will further facilitate the construction of multifamily development. And to the left is the existing zoning for the site and the surrounding area, and then the right is the proposed zoning. As part of the findings for approving a general plan amendment or zone change, we check for consistency with the city's general plan. The following summarizes policies that are found to promote the project. Policies such as encouraging a variety of housing, meeting the city's regional housing needs assessment, encouraging affordable housing, utilizing underutilized sites, identifying sites to accommodate population growth, and promote home ownership. Now, taking a deeper dive into the city's housing element, the city of Downey was provided with a regional housing needs assessment number of 6,525 units, or better known as RENA. Briefly, RENA is the number of housing units that the state has determined must be built within the next 8 years to fulfill current and future housing needs. The 6,000 figure is what Downey is responsible for. The city is responsible for planning for the number of units and establishing a framework to allow for those units. The city is not responsible for constructing those units. And this is also where the city's housing inventory comes into play. The site inventory includes parcels identified in the housing element that will be modified to facilitate housing on those sites. The city has identified that will plan for the RENA and will provide a surplus in additional of 546 units. And for reference, The subject site is not part of the site inventory and was not identified to be needed to accommodate the RENA number. With that being said, a topic we should also cover is no net loss. No net loss means that if one of the inventory sites chooses to not build housing, then the city will be tasked to locate a different site that will accommodate the same amount of housing. For reference, that is not the case here because this is not a site inventory lot. However, if one of the other sites is not to be used for housing, then that may mean the city will have to explore other options in considering similar sites. However, that will not be possible without approval from the Planning Commission and City Council. Now moving on to site plan review. Here's a rendering of the project. This is an illustration of the building facing Foster Bridge Boulevard. This is the illustration of the building facing Suva Street. And I would like to point out that the landscaping shown is not accurate. It was decided to use less landscaping for the renderings to get a better visual of the buildings. The request for the construction of 33 townhome condos. The 33 units are divided into 4 separate structures, each being 3 stories tall. The dwelling sizes range from 1,188 square feet to 1,792 square feet. Each dwelling also has a 2-car garage and either a private patio or a balcony. The landscaping around the site is 7,766 square feet, and in total, there will be 71 parking spaces, 66 located inside garages, and 5 guest parking open on site. And this is a site plan showing the site layout. As I mentioned, there are 4 separate buildings, and two of the 4 front Foster Bridge and Suva. And as I mentioned, the units range from a size of 1,180 square feet to 1,792 square feet. Each unit has 3 bedrooms and a total of 2.5 to 3.5 bathrooms. Here are the city's development standards compared to the project proposal. The last column indicates whether the project complies with the Downey Municipal Code. We will find that the building height and 3 setbacks are not in compliance. However, this is allowed through density bonus state law. So for the development standards, starting with lot coverage, the code requires no more than 50%, and the project provides 41.77%. Next is the height, required to not exceed 35 feet. The project proposes 38.5 feet. Next is the front setback. The code requires a minimum of 15 feet, and the project only provides 12.75 feet. And next is the rear setback, requirement of 46 feet, and the project proposes 37.5. And next is the street side, requirement of 7.5 feet, and the project proposes exactly that. And lastly, the side setback, requirement of 10 feet, and the project proposes 5. Now, a separate part of the city's standards is the inclusionary housing ordinance. The ordinance was approved in April of 2022 and is applicable to all residential projects proposing 10 or more units. I also mentioned that this is the first project subject to the city's inclusionary housing ordinance. The ordinance requires that all applicable projects designate 10% of the proposed units to moderate income, de-restricted housing. For this project, the requirement would be 4 units. However, because of the allowances in state density bonus law, the requirement is reduced to 3.1 units. And now providing an additional breakdown of this portion when discussing the density bonus of this on the next slides. The inclusionary housing ordinance, the applicant is allowed to either build the units or pay an in lieu fee, or a combination of both. For the project, the applicant has decided to build 3 and pay an in lieu fee of 1/10 of a unit, and that fee is $26,341. The in lieu fee goes into a fund so the city could at some point construct affordable housing. And lastly, for the 3 units that are being built, they are de-restricted for a total of 55 years. And I do want to correct the staff report. The report makes reference to 25,848 square feet, but the correct fee is 26,341. So the applicant is requesting approval of density bonus. This increases the sites allowed from 30 units to 33 units. The exact density bonus is a 5% increase to the total amount of units allowed in the code because the project provides at least 10% moderate income units. When doing the math, you may notice that a 5% increase only equals to 2 extra units. However, density bonus law requires that all fractional numbers be rounded up. Therefore, the city's density allowance would be 30.83 for the sites and must be rounded up to 31. And that accounts for the third extra unit. Density bonus law also allows the applicant to request concessions and waivers, and I'll touch upon on the next slides. I'm sorry, this was the slide for concessions. So starting with the concessions, a concession is an incentive given to developers to encourage affordable housing. The request can be deviations from any part of the municipal code that the applicant seems a financial constraint to the project. In this case, the applicant has requested to deviate from the inclusionary housing requirement to round the required unit to the next whole number. So instead of providing 4 inclusionary housing units, the applicant may now only provide 3.1. And again, for reference, they're choosing to build 3 and pay an in lieu fee of $26,341 for the 10th of a unit. In addition to concessions, the project is also allowed waivers. Waivers are deviations from the code that provide physical constraints to the project. The first waiver is a deviation from how the city determines density. Per the code, the applicant must use net lot size. And because there is a street easement on the property, there is a difference between net and gross lot size. This waiver increases the overall density to 32 units to 33 units. The next waiver is a deviation to setbacks. So with the front setback, the requirement is 15 feet, and the waiver allows for a range of 12.75 to 14.25. Next is the rear setback requirement of 46 feet. The waiver allows 37.5. The side setback requirement of 10 feet, the waiver reduces it to 5. And lastly, the height is limited to more than 35 feet, and the waiver is 38.5 feet. So next, the code requires a garage with side-by-side parking spaces. Instead, the waiver is requesting for some of the units to be tandem parking, which means one in front of the other. And lastly, private open space must have a minimum dimension of 10 by 10. And the project provides this private open space in the form of balconies and patios with different dimensions. In addition, density bonus law also allows deviations from the city's parking requirements. So the code requires 83 total spaces. The state law allows for 49.5 total spaces. And the applicant is providing 71 spaces. Again, 66 in garages and 5 open to guests. The architectural style is Spanish, and the materials and features are customary to a Spanish style. And this includes siding, stucco siding, white tones, and clear tile roof. And here are the elevations for the building fronting Foster Bridge. At the top is the front elevation facing Foster Bridge, and at the bottom is the opposite side of where the garage is access facing from the inside of the lot. This building is proposed at a height of 38.5 feet, which is the highest of the 4. Here are elevations for the building facing Suva. At the top is the view from Suva, and at the bottom is the back of the building facing the interior of the lot. This building proposed height is 37.5 feet. And here are elevations for one of the interior buildings. This building is proposed at 36 feet. And lastly, here are elevations for the other building proposed at 36.5 feet. As part of site plan review, we also review landscaping for compliance. The project does comply with the development standards for landscaping. Here are some highlights from some plants that were placed to enhance privacy. On the screen outlined in blue are perimeter hedge plants. This particular plant is named Compact Xyloma, and it grows up to a height of 25 feet if allowed. The applicant plans to maintain a height of 8 feet. Secondly, through public comment, staff was made aware of the concerns related to privacy along Foster Bridge for those properties in which the rear yard abuts the street. Outlined in red, there is a proposal for 11 separate trees to be placed in that area. These trees are Bryce-Bane boxes, purple robes, which both could grow to heights of 50 to 40 feet. The diagram at the bottom indicates that these trees may be effective in concealing the adjacent properties. At the top is a closer view of the tree placement, and at the bottom is the additional proposal by the applicant to purchase trees to be planted on the adjacent properties to enhance privacy. However, staff does not know whether these residents are amenable to this proposal, nor is it a condition of the project. A separate idea for achieving privacy is screening the third-story windows with frost glazing or other treatment. This is the tentative tract map showing the separate parcels to be established for townhome ownership. Tentative tract maps are required when projects involve the subdivision of 5 or more parcels. Specifically, the map is required in order to establish the parcels for the separate townhomes and common spaces throughout the site, such as driveways, paths, landscape areas, and guest parking. The city, as required by the Subdivision Map Act, sent the map to the school district and the local municipal water district and Caltrans. The map is sent to them so they can provide comments if needed. Caltrans did reply, stating they had no comments, and the other 2 agencies did not reply. And now I'll introduce our consultant, Mr. Giancarlo Gandini, to make the presentation.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. Thank you for the opportunity to give a brief overview of the traffic impact analysis. Our firm was retained by the city to prepare a traffic study for the project to determine the potential impact of the additional trips that would be generated on the surrounding roadway system and the operation of the intersections. The traffic study was prepared based on the guidelines established by the County of Los Angeles. The city has historically deferred to the county's guidelines in the preparation of traffic studies with respect to the methodologies and parameters. Analysis was performed for 2 components of the roadway system. One is study intersections, and the other is roadway segments. The intersections are evaluated based on what's referred to as peak hour control delay. That measures delay associated with a traffic signal, for example, or a stop sign. How much additional time would a vehicle have to slow down to pass through that intersection? Roadway segment is a little more high-level planning, and it looks at a ratio of the volume passing through a roadway segment divided by the capacity of that roadway segment, depending on the number of lanes and other factors. Both the control delay and the volume to capacity ratios that are calculated are then used to determine what's referred to as level of service. A level of service is a little bit more of a layman's term for determining or describing the performance of the roadway facility. And the city has generally established a target level of service of D or better. The project would be, the way development projects are evaluated to determine whether they should provide additional roadway improvements would be, for example, if it causes an intersection or a roadway segment to degrade from acceptable level of service D or better to an unacceptable E or F, for example. So to start, establish the baseline of the roadway conditions in the vicinity of the project site. Intersection volumes were measured during the AM and PM peak periods. That's a 2-hour window between 7 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m. And roadway segment counts were also conducted over a 24-hour period. In blue, those are the 4 existing study intersections where the turning movement volumes were measured. And The 6 green bars there represent the locations where, again, volumes are measured over a 24-hour period. So this is on-the-ground measurements of actual traffic patterns. Using that data and an assessment of the existing lane configurations, the analysis then calculates the levels of service for the study locations. I believe last hearing there were some questions specifically about Suva Street on the segment between Bluff and Foster Bridge Road to Guatemala. Based on the daily volume that was measured, approximately just under 12,000 trips per day, that would correlate to a level of service C for the roadway segment. And then for the study intersections, again, these are based on the average control delay. So this represents the average delay for all of the different directions entering the intersection. And we did want to highlight that for Suva and Guatemala, the analysis does identify that the southeastbound direction, so this would be if you're traveling on Suva Street from the project site towards Guatemala, the worst individual approach in that direction specifically, the PM peak hour was identified at level service E. Although when you average all the other directions, the total level of service for that intersection would be a D during the PM peak hour. So that was existing conditions. The project trips are estimated based on the Institute of Transportation Engineers trip generation manual. Again, that's a standard reference manual within industry practice, also identified by the county guidelines. This was done in 2 steps. First was estimating the trips that would be generated by the existing church on a typical day, the trips generated by the proposed 33 dwelling units, and then the difference between that would determine the net new trips or the additional traffic that would be added to the surrounding roadway system. And to just kind of add a little bit of context, so during the AM peak hour, this would be the peak 1-hour period that the surrounding roadway systems are highest. Typically also for residential use, there's a peak 1-hour period when the highest number of trips are leaving the site. During the AM peak hour, there's a net trip generation of 10 additional trips. During the PM peak hour, again, the one highest hour between 4 and 6 p.m., the net trip generation was 13 trips. And over a typical 24-hour weekday period, the additional trips are estimated at 158. To put that kind of into context of the surrounding roadway system, that segment that we referenced earlier of Suva Street between Bluff and Guatemala, that was measured at 11,000, just almost 12,000 trips per day. So the project represents approximately 1.3% of that. Again, just trying to highlight that the majority of the volumes and the traffic forecasts included in the analysis are based on the measured volumes. The projected volumes for the project trip generation are a much smaller percentage of that. The future volumes then are determined by a combination of the measured traffic volumes for existing conditions, background growth, again, just an annual growth rate per year to account for other development in the area, and then the net project trips. The combination of all of that then is used to derive the future traffic volumes, which is again evaluated, or levels of service are calculated to determine the impact of the project. And so this last slide here just shows for the future conditions, a comparison between without the project and with the project. As you can see on the slide, all of the level service were determined to remain the same, and therefore the project impact on the capacity of the roadways was identified to be less than significant, and no specific mitigation measures were required of the project. That being said, I understand the applicant's been working with Public Works to address some of the existing issues in the area, but those are not necessarily tied to the effect of the project specifically. And with that, I'll hand it back to Abraham. Thank you.
Okay. So moving on to public noticing, the city notified residents and property owners within 500 feet of the subject site as well as outside agencies and all interested parties that provided their information. Notices were sent out on November 22nd, 2023, when releasing the initial CEQA documents for public review. This process is called the Notice of Intent. And then on April 18th, 14 days prior to today, notices were again sent out via email and email. A poster sign was also placed on the site by the city on April 23rd. A similar noticing was done for the previous Plan Commission hearing on April 17th. And these are images from the postings on April 23rd. In terms of outreach, it was strongly suggested to the applicant that they host a community meeting. It was disclosed to staff that they conducted one in late March. Staff also suggested the applicant post signs detailing the project at the site. A sign was not posted. Lastly, the applicant disclosed to staff that they were canvassing the neighborhood by going door to door. Public comments have been provided in 2 separate Plan Commission meetings on February 7th, 21st, and most recently at the previous public hearing of April 17th for this item. Staff has also received correspondence and met with people over the counter and over the phone. This slide attempts to best summarize all comments provided. This summary is also found in the staff report. I will not read them through, but I'll pause so the commission could and public has time to read through them. As we have read, these are concerns related to traffic, and although staff's analysis finds that the current traffic impacts in their area are pre-existing and will not be exacerbated by the project, there are still conditions of approval incorporated in order to attempt and alleviate concerns. One example is condition number 71 and resolution number 244028. The applicant will be responsible for installing a keep clear markings in order to allow quick vehicle access onto the site when traveling to the site. Separately, condition number 73 of the same resolution requires that Suva Street driveway be used as a right turn exit only. Previously, this driveway was for emergency vehicle only and meant that 80% of the traffic coming out of Foster Bridge driveway would be headed south and lining up at the intersection. Instead, with the condition, that percentage can be potentially reduced to 50%, and with the other 30% of vehicles using the Suva exit. Another preemptive measure taken by staff is condition number 62. The condition is for the installation of a traffic signal preemption device at the intersection of Suva, Bluff, and Foster Bridge. The device recognizes when emergency vehicles are approaching and will turn green and keep green so traffic could clear and give way to the emergency vehicles.
And through the chair, if I may just interject before the next slide. On the dais and in the back of the room, and we've also provided a copy this evening to the applicant, we are including a revised condition of approval to resolution 24-2048, which would also add a requirement that a truck hauling route plan be submitted for review and approval by the Community Development and Public Works Departments for all project-related constructions activities prior to permit issuance to ensure that large vehicles do not travel through Suva over the Rio Hondo Channel Bridge while hauling construction materials. So that, just wanted to add that. That was another item we added tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask a question since we're on this slide particularly? So that's still Downey right there in that corner on there. Is there a time frame regardless of the project, of this project, when that street is going to be resurfaced?
Yes, if we could, I think we're almost done with our presentation, and then that could be one of the first questions that we cover. Thank you.
Just remember this slide, because look how bad that street looks right there.
So this slide focuses on alternative housing development scenarios. On February 13th and 27th, the applicant provided staff with a density analysis for different project types. Those calculations are provided in your packet as attachment L of your report and attachment M of your report. It is a peer review by an outside consultant. In summary, the applicant states that under the current zoning, they can construct 52 units by using city code and state laws for ADUs and SB9 units. The outside consultant estimates a total of 39 units are possible. Separately, there has been a recent law passed, SB4, that allows religious institutions to construct residential units on their sites. It is required that all these projects to be 100% affordable, which allows for even more density than the applicant believes they can allow on site currently of 79 units. The consultant peer review calculates 71 units. It should be noted that these numbers are only in theory. It may very well be found that all these units, either in scenario 1 or 2, cannot be carried out. Staff will need to be presented with those projects in order to verify. And moving over to CEQA, the project, like all other projects that come before you, are subject to the California Environmental Quality Act. Most projects are typically exempt. In this case, the project underwent an initial study, and through those findings, it was determined that the appropriate review would be a mitigated negative declaration, also known as an M&D. This is because all foreseeable impacts can be mitigated to the extent of less than significant. These mitigations are outlined in the Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program, known as MMRP, and attached to Resolution 244027. As the lead agency, the city complies with the provisions of CEQA, and here are some of those steps. The city reached out to multiple Native American tribes that have previously requested notification. The Gabriano Keys Nation responded and requested consultation. Their conditions for the project are incorporated into the MMRP. The city then filed a notice of intent notifying the public of outside agencies of the intended project. 2 letters were received and provided to you as Exhibit A in the M&D. And lastly, the M&D is presented here for your consideration. So CEQA outlines the categories of environmental impacts that must be evaluated. Among these categories are the following have found to be to produce no impact or less than significant impacts. These may be deemed to provide no impact because of resources are not found on the site, or because the pollutants generated by the site is not to exceed the acceptable levels as determined by the authorizing agencies. Moving on to the impacts, these categories are found to be less than significant when mitigated. For biological resources, the mitigation discussed monitoring bird nesting seasons and procedures to follow if a bird nest is discovered. For both cultural and tribal cultural resources, these mitigations determine what to do if artifacts or remains are found and who is in charge of making these determinations. For geology and soil, the mitigations are concerned with what to do if a paleontological resource are found, such as fossils. And for hazardous material, it's discussing inspection for leads to asbestos prior to demolition and retaining appropriate permits for removal. And the previous mitigations are very standard. Here we have some more unique ones. For aesthetics, the mitigation attempts to ensure privacy of the project privacy is provided and light is blocked from the northern abutting property. The project proposes the installation of a hedge of 8 feet in height. Staff will determine if the plant and height is acceptable via inspection and prior to the issuance of a building permit final. And next is noise. The mitigations require that neighbors be notified a minimum of 2 weeks prior to the start of construction. In addition, during construction, a 8-foot tall temporary sound wall must be installed along the northern property line abutting the closest residential property. And in conclusion, on the screen is the project summary. It is staff's opinion that all findings can be made in a positive manner, but staff is also available to assist the Planning Commission through its deliberation if they would like to seek alternatives to staff's recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over and Commissioners, do you have any questions? I'll start off with Mr. Commissioner Lujan.
Through the chair, I'm sorry, through the chair, would you like to have the applicant present their brief slide overview?
I'd
that-
rather get the staff questions first. Because I have some questions directed at staff first. So,
Not at this time right now.
okay. Commissioner Cycling?
I just want to know the method of calculation to determine the future level of service.
I think I will have to turn over to our traffic consultant, Mr. Giancarlo.
Sorry, can you restate your question? Just a general overview of the methodology?
No, I asked what type of method of calculation did you use to determine the future level of service?
Again, that's based off of, it's prescribed by the County of Los Angeles guidelines that the city uses for all development projects. It's referred to as, for intersections, it's referred to as the intersection delay methodology from the Highway Capacity Manual. And for roadway segments, it's referred to as the volume to capacity ratio.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay. Commissioner Morales?
Yeah, good job, Abraham. Good job stepping in. Appreciate that. That's all I have.
Okay, great. I do have some questions on there. So I saw in the report, and you mentioned it there, if this project isn't built there, what are the alternatives? I know that under SB4, you mentioned it anywhere from 71 to 79 affordable housing apartments can be built there. But what are the alternatives besides affordable housing, commercial, retail, warehousing? Just out of curiosity, what else is available there?
So in its current state, it's zoned for low density, which means just a single family home. So with the current general plan designation, it's only allowed for one unit regardless of its size, unless it's subdivided into multiple R1 properties. As far as commercial or manufacturing, it will come before you as another item because again, it is zoned and the general plan land use is for residential. So it will have to come back for a zone change for manufacturing or commercial, and also a general plan amendment for both of those as well.
And under SB4, the state can come in and says we want affordable apartments there?
So SB4 is specifically for religious facilities or higher education. So if the church was to remain the property owner, they are entitled to a more streamlined process with SB4 with the densities stated in the staff report.
Okay. So I read the report. I did look at all 730 pages, by the way, that you guys submitted, so thank you for that. And I read, what is this, the traffic concerns now and if it was built? So on page 11, you indicated that it was hard to distinguish whether traffic was from a pre-existing condition or a proposed condition. Can you guys elaborate a little bit on that? I don't care which one of the three of you answers it.
Yes, through the chair, I can start. So with regard to existing conditions, we did include, we typically wouldn't include existing conditions to this level of detail that we did for this report, but we did realize that there was a lot of concern about traffic signal, being at a red light for a long period of time, being at a stop sign in proximity to the project for long periods of time in the queuing. So with that, staff did coordinate with Public Works to discuss these topics. Through that discussion process, we did find out that Public Works Department was already coordinating through their Public Works Committee and evaluating several measures that they can take to address community concerns. So for example, there has been a lot of reports related to speeding in the area. And so there's currently a traffic calming program that the City Public Works Department, taking the lead, is undertaking and evaluating traffic calming measures. So for an example that we provided in the report, there is currently underway a survey process whereby 75% of the residents in the area would have to vote yes to the installation of speed humps in order for that to occur. So that is one example of traffic calming measures. The other example that we shared in the report was with regard to the traffic signal adjacent right next to the project site. What we had heard a lot and repetition, even though our traffic study indicated otherwise, we had heard, and I think even just some of us had taken the time to go out to the site, that some people were maybe feeling like they were at the traffic light for long periods of time. So as of April 15th, we did go ahead proactively as a measure is extend the green light time to allow for an additional 14 vehicles to be able to cross the intersection. So that is 14 vehicles for the queue during any single cycle of the signal beginning April 15th. That is another example. We also have in the city's master plan for upgrades for facilities, we're projecting that there will be a full upgrade to the traffic signal poles, traffic and pedestrian signal heads, safety lights, controls, and equipment cabinet that is in the near future cycle of upgrades to be completed. And again, that's separate from the project. That's something that the Public Works Department already had underway, and where we have prioritized those items to happen sooner than later.
Good. Yeah, I read it on page 12, that's planned for the city to upgrade the lighting and the timing and getting new equipment within the last 2 years, so it's glad to see that. Is there, on the street itself, my question on the, when you have the leathered, snake look on half that street on there, is that up, you have a date out of curiosity? You don't have to at the moment, but when that street's gonna be resurfaced?
Yeah,
from
that was slide 49, and our Public Works Director can address that question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Vice Chair Guerra, just to let you know, we have a pavement management report plan we have a consultant that we're bringing on board in the next month. And over about a 3-month period, they'll evaluate all of our streets. Once again, we do this on a 3-year cycle. So we would be taking a look at that section and including that as part of future paving work.
Great. Part of that traffic calming program, I voted on that when I was mayor. That's when we first did it, in the speed humps. And one of the things was each council member got to vote for 2 of the signs, the flashing signs and the speed radar thing. So you guys may look at that, whether that's something you want to bring back in that area, or maybe, each council member can bring one back and so forth. So my next question is, so the Development Review Committee consists of what? Police, fire, public works, planning, building safety, and they provided conditions to ensure the site design features and project that have the least impact to the community or meets or exceeds all of that and is safe. And is that correct? Is that the Design Review Committee? And I wrote down police, fire, public works, planning, building, and safety. Did I miss anybody?
That is all departments, and you are correct. We do all get together for projects like these to evaluate the project for safety, apply applicable development standards, municipal codes, for example, fire, concerns with police.
Okay.
And part of those conditions are referenced in the PowerPoint. For example, the preemption device to allow emergency vehicles, the light stay screen so fire or police could access the island with no delay in time.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. That's kind of important to have those particular departments obviously weigh in. We're all concerned about public safety. So next question that I have is, how much will these condos sell for? What's the range?
I would probably defer the answer to the Olson Company once they come up.
Okay, all right. I'd like to know that, please. I think that makes a difference. I saw affordable housing units is mandated by law. I saw the 10% on there. What's the threshold compared to the market conditions? There's 33 condos, 10 of them are, 3 of them, 10% are affordable housing. By law, they're adding that in and so forth. So what's the variation? And maybe we'll ask them. I want to know if one sells for this affordable housing, and what is the regular marketplace? I think that's a good question for them to ask. So
If I could also just jump in, we can't answer on how much will sell for the moderate income levels because that's the affordability level.
Right.
But the affordability income level is around $80,000 per year to $120,000 per year for the family.
It's like 120% of something.
Correct,
something.
80% to 120%.
Yeah, okay, all right. So has the city worked with this developer in the past? What kind of experience do you have? I know the answer to that, but I just kind of wanted to make sure, see what you guys thought.
Yeah, so in the downtown, I believe in 2016 or 2017, Olson Company did build the Village Walk, which is on Lorena and 3rd. And I believe those townhomes are 28 units, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember the number, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I also read in your report that developers putting in on the title that no ADUs can be built on this project and completed. Can you explain this? And I think it's voluntary, right? That they put it on the title. You want to ask we want to ask them?
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, I can provide clarification. The covenants for R3 type projects can be placed on the covenants, and that is the plan for this project, to have a restriction to not allow the garages to be converted to ADUs, to ensure accessory dwelling units, to ensure that the garage spaces are available for the parking of vehicles. There would also be there is a condition of approval, and also through the CCNRs, the conditions, covenants, and restrictions that would regulate the homeowners association would restrict to ensure that the garages are also identified for parking of vehicles and not for storage or other ancillary uses. There are state law that has different restrictions for R1 properties, but for R3 properties, we can place that restriction to not allow ADUs in garages.
Okay. Was that voluntary, or was that something that you guys worked with them together? You asked them?
I think there was a mutual agreement that garages should remain garages and not accessory dwelling units.
Yeah, because that's a big deal. So you mentioned the RENA numbers, the 6525 units on there. So basically, this doesn't really impact those 6525 numbers unless another project goes down, and then you can add these numbers to it. I was trying to make sense of that, and I read it in the report, and could you clarify that, please?
So a little bit of clarification. So REIA numbers, the 6,500 number is calculated by the affordability levels. So very low income, moderate income, and so forth. Because they are providing 3 moderate income units, it does go into those REIA numbers. So it will lessen the amount by 3. However, if this project does not move forward, it doesn't impact the REIA numbers. It just stays the same, again, because
It doesn't go back, it doesn't add to it.
the
Yeah.
housing element didn't identify the site as an inventory
So
site.
it does help us if it's built, it doesn't hurt us if it's not built.
Correct.
Okay, all right, okay, that makes sense. So I looked at the CEQA report, and I couldn't find the beginning date and the end date. So how long has this project been worked on by staff and the developer? I couldn't quite make it out of the 730 pages, sir.
I believe the CEQA, well, the entire project, I believe, has been well over a year. I believe March of 2023. I could be mistaken.
Okay.
But I do see some nodding, so.
Okay, all right. And when was this first submitted to the city, this project? At the same time?
March
And
of
that's when-
2023,
And that's when
yeah.
you started on it. Okay, great. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate, thanks for all your hard work on this, for answering all these questions. Okay, so before I open up the public hearings, we'd like to have the applicant come forward.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners.
Good evening.
I'll just wait for my slideshow to be queued up here.
Could you move the mic a little bit closer? Thank you.
There we
sir.
go.
There you go.
How's
We
that?
appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Vice Chair Guerra, I just may interject that the public hearing needs to be open formally.
Oh, before them? I thought it was after they made their report, their presentation?
We would ordinarily open the public hearing
Okay,
before.
all
any
right,
court
I have
order.
no problems with that. So, so this will be the time for the public hearing is now going to be open. So the applicant, the Olson Home, will be providing a brief PowerPoint presentation, followed by the property owner's representative. And go ahead, sir.
All right. Oh, here we go. Okay. Good evening, Planning Commissioners. My name is Steve Armanino, and I'm joined by John Reekston and our entire design team. First, I'd like to thank staff. Thank you to Alfonso Hernandez for his work over the past year on this community. And thank you, Abraham, for the presentation this evening. We're excited to present this new opportunity. The Olson Company is very customer-focused, rated #1 in the nation by Alliance surveys, based on feedback from our customers. And just a couple weeks ago, Olson once again received the Align Award, We are a 9-time recipient of this honor. We are rated #1 in the nation for customer service and #1 for overall home buyer purchase and home ownership experience. Eliant is a nationwide survey company for home builders similar to J.D. Powers. Sorry, missed that slide there. We most recently worked with the city of Downey to complete Village Walk, a residential townhome community located at 3rd and Lorena. Although this was a very successful community, we're here to talk about a new opportunity this evening. Let's begin by reviewing how state policy affects the subject property. There are 3 state policies that effectively modified and intensified what can be done under the existing general plan and zoning designation. The state has effectively upzoned the property. These are State Density Bonus Law, Accessory Dwelling Unit Policy, and Senate Bill 4, which impacts religious and educational institutions. As you are aware, staff directed Sagecrest to review and validate these development options. You will see that the Sagecrest numbers differ slightly from Olson's under the ADU scenario. And we have our land use attorney here this evening if you would like further clarification on the matter. Let's walk through how these state policies would likely be applied to this property. Under State Density Bonus Law, which is triggered by the city's inclusionary housing ordinance, a total of 13 lots may be developed on the site. Olson's interpretation of accessory dwelling unit law allows up to 3 additional ADUs to be built on each single-family lot. This totals 13 for-sale homes and 39 rentals for a total of 52 units. No parking is required for the ADUs, and under State Density Bonus Law, parking is reduced to 20 spaces, only to support the 13 primary homes. The second option, using Senate Bill 4, would allow up to 71 affordable homes as validated by Sagecrest. The church would not have to be the developer as stated by staff, only involved in the transaction. These would likely be built by an affordable housing developer, would be all rental, and funded using low-income housing tax credits and/or Section 8 funds, and would only be required to provide 71 parking spaces or 1 per unit. And here's a conceptual elevation showing what the 71-unit SB4 apartment scenario could look like. This table compares the options. Under the current general plan and zoning designation, ADU and SB4 policy allows between 52 and 71 units, mostly rental and by right. These alternatives offer fewer parking spaces and very limited city discretion. For the rental alternatives, it is very important to understand the following. Based on Downey's 10% inclusionary requirement, both rental alternatives would qualify for waivers and concessions under State Density Bonus Law in order to achieve their target densities. Additionally, CEQA review would be extremely limited under the ADU scenario, and CEQA review is not required under the SB4 scenario. City approvals would also be limited to health and safety issues, and given the scale of these projects, parking would be woefully inadequate. Sorry, that's the slide I was on there. Okay. Olson only builds for-sale housing, so this could follow under a future affordable apartment developer. This SB4 scenario is a 4-story project with 3 living levels over 1 level of parking, with 71 units and 71 parking spaces, or 1 space per unit. This development would be 100% affordable and all rental. And under SB4, this community's approvals are considered by right and not discretionary. In contrast, Olson's design went through a thorough city review process, including CEQA environmental review. Our proposed community is 100% for sale, provides by far the most on-site parking per unit, and includes a homeowners association to ensure long-term maintenance and to protect property values. If the project is approved in an effort to further de-intensify the potential uses of the site under SB4 and ADU law, Olson will place a covenant on the property restricting the site to only 33 homes, with no ADUs in perpetuity. Next, let's talk about community outreach. The island consists of a little over 300 homes and is walkable, so we implemented door-to-door neighborhood outreach. Over a year, we visited the island neighborhood 70 times. In addition, we visited other locations throughout Downey, knocking on over 1,221 doors, including re-knocks, and speaking with 549 residents in Downey, both on and off the island, and 62 Downey businesses. 405 people registered their support. And of those, 176 Downey residents signed letters of support. I have an additional 16 letters tonight to submit into the record, adding to the previous total of 160 for a total of 176. In March, we also held a community meeting with notices mailed to all residents on the island. We tried to find the most convenient location, meeting at Bell Gardens Golf Clubhouse, just south of the subject property by about 5 minutes, which was closer than the other available facilities in the city of Downey. So let's talk about the feedback we received during our community outreach. We heard reasons for support. First and foremost, we heard that Downey needs more homes and that for sale housing was by far the preferred option. Residents like the attractive architecture. They like the garages are screened from the street. Residents also like the idea of new neighbors and homeowner eyes on the street, and an HOA to professionally maintain the community. We also received and noted neighbor concerns. The concerns received from neighbors can be grouped into 3 categories, including vehicular, privacy and scale, and existing safety issues. Let's start with vehicular. Over the past year, we have witnessed the existing vehicular congestion in the area. We acknowledge that this is a challenging condition that exists today, and overwhelmingly the #1 concern registered during our outreach. Recently, Downey's Public Works Commission identified Suva and Foster Bridge as an area of focus. There are only 2 ways in and out of the island that are highlighted on this slide. Everyone that lives on the island is affected by vehicular congestion in the area. If someone is going to the 5, the 710, or Downey services, they would travel through this area. Vehicular congestion culminates at this 3-way signal where wait times increase during peak hours. A study commissioned by the City of Downey focused on the potential vehicular impacts of the proposed community. While the study validates neighbors' concern that vehicular congestion exists, the study also concluded that the proposed community will not create a noticeable change to current conditions. While we acknowledge that there is existing traffic out here, the evidence in the record shows that the project does not warrant intersection improvements, there is not going to be a noticeable change to existing conditions, and additionally, the staff report notes that traffic conditions are a result of pre-existing conditions specific to the nearby area and not a result of the project proposed. Staff, in an effort to further reduce any impacts, came up with a great idea, conditioning that the Suva emergency access gate become a functioning exit gate with right turn only, reducing Foster Bridge stacking, according to the staff report, by up to 30%. Although the study concluded that there will be no noticeable change to current conditions, to further improve vehicular flow, a secondary right turn exit only on Suva will be installed. Additionally, we agree to install a traffic signal preemption device for emergency vehicles at the Suva and Foster Bridge signal. Additionally, concerns were raised regarding the use of street parking, particularly along Foster Bridge and Bluff Road. On Foster Bridge, there is parking on the west side in front of the proposed community, with no parking on the east side along the neighboring homes. Parking is allowed on Bluff Road north of Suva, but is less likely to be used since no overnight parking is permitted. On Bluff Road south of Suva, there are 25 head-in parking spaces. Parking is available on both sides of Suva and Scout Avenue. And as you can see, there's a fairly large amount of off-site parking available, providing well over 100 spaces. The proposed community, in contrast, would only use off-site parking sporadically, using a very limited number of spaces. The ADU and SB4 alternatives would make heavy use of the off-site parking, potentially adding 70 to 80 cars parked on the street every night. And here we add an additional measure to further reduce any need for off-site parking. Olson will include a parking management plan in the CC&Rs, which will require residents to use garages for parking and not storage. Enforcement rights will be granted to the HOA, and violators will be subject to inspection, fines, and penalties. In addition, residents will not be permitted to park in guest spaces, as they will be reserved for guests only. During outreach, Olson received comments about scale of the proposed community and concerns about privacy. Specifically, the neighbors across Foster Bridge expressed concerns about privacy. This exhibit of our original submittal shows where we started, with only a few trees on Foster Bridge Boulevard. We agreed there was a lot of room for improvement. Staff also expressed a similar concern, and based on community feedback and its staff's recommendation, we worked with our landscape architect to select specific trees that would best address privacy and transition scale. We have added 13 trees on Foster Bridge, selecting species with 40-foot tree canopies at maturity to provide privacy and to buffer and transition between our site and the adjacent homes. To further enhance privacy, Olson has elected to install window coverings at third-floor Foster Bridge windows prior to occupancy, and will be conditioned to always have window coverings per the CC&Rs. In addition to Foster Bridge landscape, we enhanced plantings along the north property line to buffer the adjacent home. At the last Planning Commission meeting, we received some comments regarding privacy along the north property line. As you can see here, we have designed a 37.5-foot setback from the north property line to the nearest townhome. In addition to the existing 6-foot high block wall, several trees will be planted along our northern boundary, with canopies ranging from 12 to 40 feet. In all, we are planting over 100 trees, and to our list, we've added the following measures to address privacy and scale. 13 trees along Foster Bridge for additional privacy. Builder installed window coverings at third floor facing Foster Bridge windows. The CC&R shall require that those locations always have window coverings. We have designed a 37.5-foot setback in the north property line with trees, canopies from 12 feet to 40 feet high at maturity. And we are planting over 100 trees across the site to buffer and transition. We also received neighbor input on existing safety concerns. There were concerns about vagrancy in Treasure Island Park and the church parking lot after hours. And here's how the project could help with safety. If the city should choose, $35,000 in park fees generated by this community could be spent on lighting, cameras, and improved security at Treasure Island Park. The new townhomes will also place additional eyes on the street and participate in Neighborhood Watch. And at this time, I would like to highlight the benefits of this community. This community will bring increased revenues to the city of Downey of approximately $900,000. According to the National Association of Home Builders, there is a substantial one-time and ongoing revenue benefit to the city. The Downey General Plan goals, policies, and programs support the creation of new for-sale housing, promoting home ownership. As noted in the Downey's adopted housing element, the RENA requirement for new housing stands at 6,525 units for Downey, with only 193 identified under approved and proposed projects, with no new recent housing production in Northwest Downey. At this time, let's recap some of the design features and measures offered by the proposed community. Here we have the gated entry, enhanced paving, 13 privacy trees with 40-foot canopies, Spanish colonial architecture with front entries and patios, window coverings at Foster Bridge facing third floors, which are restricted and included in the CC&Rs, trees, shrubs, and monumentation at this prominent Downey Gateway location, a right turn exit only onto Suva, raised patios with brownstone steps, landscape buffer at the storage use, planting over 100 trees on site, central courtyard with patios and paseos, a pet area, and again, landscape buffer with trees at the north property line. And here we have an architectural elevation from the community's frontage along Suva Street. The elevation incorporates Spanish colonial design details, including earth-tone concrete tile roofs with hip and gable articulation in the roofline. Other features include box bay windows, faux chimneys, truss tails, sculpted sills, clay vents, differentiation of front entries, front patios, and movement in the elevation plane. And once again, we've added a substantial number of measures to address the concerns of the community. A land use covenant limit to only 33 townhomes with no ADUs, a SUVA right turn only, parking preemption device for emergency vehicles, a parking management plan, privacy trees on Foster Bridge, trees in setback at the north property line, over 100 trees on site, builder window coverings at Foster Bridge third floors, included in the CC&Rs, payment of $35,000 in park fees for Treasure Island Park, potentially, and eyes on the street, as well as participation in Neighborhood Watch. In summary, here are some key points. While not solving the existing condition of vehicular congestion that exists today, this proposal is far less impactful than what can be done today by right. We're offering 33 for-sale homes with 71 parking spaces instead of a 52-unit ADU scenario with 20 parking spaces, being mostly rental. And instead of the 71-unit SB4 scenario that's 100% affordable with only one parking space per unit. The City Commission CEQA study shows no adverse impacts, and according to the traffic study, the proposed project is forecasted to not have a noticeable impact on transit demand. And we have incorporated measures to address community concerns. This concludes our presentation, and our team is available for questions. Thank you.
I'm going to ask commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant? Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have one question. On the right turn only on Suva, how's that going to be achieved? Physically or just by a sign?
Right now, it was previously a fire exit only, like an emergency gate. But working with staff, we've changed that to a right turn only that will be marked with signs and won't allow any left turn. So that's been covered. We would work with Public Works on any street improvements to implement that.
So kind of like a pork chop where you can only turn physically one way, so you can't, if you.
Possibly,
go
yes.
opposite,
We have to look into that with staff and come up with a solution.
Thanks.
Similar question, Steve, regarding the same entryway on Suva. Is that because of the fire department restriction that allows only right turns?
It's a little close to the intersection, so initially we thought that it'd be better as an emergency access. But given the de-intensification of Foster Bridge to, kind of help things out, we thought it was a great idea to incorporate.
So if someone, let's say, live in that area, wants to get into his complex, he has to make a left turn on the traffic signal and come back on Foster Bridge, make another left turn to get in instead of making simply traveling eastbound, simply get into the left and into the complex, that he doesn't have to go through the intersection.
So the main entry on Foster Bridge is really the primary ingress-egress, but the SUVA is an egress-only right turn, so that would only be exiting the community.
I get that, but the comment I'm making is why, if the person wants to go into the complex, he has to now wait on the intersection to get into Foster Bridge, to get into the complex. Why can't you allow him to make a left turn inside this complex before he gets to the intersection from Suva?
We'd have to look into that further. There's really not a lot of space there, but it's very close to the intersection, so we don't know if the traffic would allow for that.
Was there a study done on that issue regarding trying to allow the vehicles to travel, go into the complex from Suva?
I think probably the issue there is the stacking, because once people enter the driveway, there has to be space to decelerate and have loading. And I don't think we have that loading at Suva.
Commissioner Cycli, I think our director might have an answer for that.
Thank you, Vice Chair Guerra. I can elaborate. I think the question at hand is allowing primary access in addition to the Foster Bridge, also allowing folks to go into the development through Suva. Is that the question?
That's it, yes.
Actually, staff, the reason that originally this project was identified the Suva driveway as emergency exit only, because that driveway is so close to the intersection, staff discouraged that from being a primary ingress, going into the development. In order to prevent cars from potentially, because it's a gated community, from cars queuing into the intersection of Foster and Suva. So it's, given that the traffic signal is already there might be more than one car arriving at that time. Staff discouraged that. More recently, when we heard concerns from the public about the number of cars coming in, and we looked at the site plan again internally through the interdepartmental review committee that we referenced earlier, and we identified that if we did allow that Suva driveway to be an exit-only driveway, which was a recent modification we made, we're recommending as part of this project, then we would allow 30% of the vehicles to exit through Suva, and that would be 30% less vehicles exiting onto Foster Bridge. And we thought it was a better idea to distribute the vehicle movement on 2 streets rather than just on 1.
Commissioner Lujan, any questions?
No, this time.
I want to go back to my initial question. How much will these condos sell for?
In the 700,000s,
Okay. How about the affordable housing ones?
in the 300,000s.
Okay, so there's quite a discrepancy.
There is, and just to add, the AMI for the moderate income is 120% of area median income.
Right. That's right. Okay. All right. Thank you. I think I had all the other questions on there. So
Okay, thank you.
at this time, the property owner's representative wants to come forward? Or yes, no? Okay. I know the property owner had been here last meeting, so I don't know if they're here or not. So they're not. Okay. So here's the deal, okay? There is 55 people signed up to speak, 55. You each get 3 minutes, technically, and I will honor that 100%, okay? We're not going anywhere, okay? We're gonna be here till we vote tonight. But 55 speakers times 3 minutes is almost 3 hours, okay? Think about it, 55 speakers times 3 minutes. So voluntarily, if you would like to say less, okay, make your point and help everybody else out, that is encouraged. I promise you, you can have all 3 minutes, but I will also tell you that all of your comments, this is literally every single one of the emails on every single comment and every single petition and every single comment made for the meeting in February, for last meeting and this meeting. I can tell you that our report gives us the opposition. The opposition, and I'm gonna list them because there's 15 or so, and they're all categorized. Traffic concerns, cleanliness at Treasure Island Park, project incompatible with single-family homes, projects should be built elsewhere. There's a better utilization of the site, i.e. parks and recs. Parking congestion, especially for guests, due to potential special occasions hosted. Lack of parking to accommodate each unit. Current dangers for pedestrian due to traffic, existing traffic conditions, including speeding when streets are not congested. Health concerns related to additional vehicle congestion. Believes traffic study misrepresents actual traffic conditions. Density over development of the site. Garage use for storage is difficult to enforce. Sense of community loss with loss of church. Misrepresentations provided from applicant when canvassing area. Overpopulation in the area. School enrollment overcrowding will alter quality of life. The Treasure Island neighborhood has historical significance. Current traffic conditions impact people exiting their homes. Will potentially negative affect property values. Now, some of those things are within the purview of the Planning Commission. Most of them are not. Most of them we actually can't even take into consideration, just to let you know that. But those were the concerns, and we hear them, we've read them, staff has read them. In favor, okay, development of the site would eliminate vagrant activity. Activate, there's a lot less on there because they're condensed. Activate the sites, may potentially raise nearby property values. Provide younger and those in need with affordable housing, will raise the housing stock. So I just want you to know what has been said, what we have heard. So having said that, you get 3 minutes. We hope you don't take it all, but it's voluntarily. We will be here, so it's almost 8 o'clock. We will be here till 11:30 to vote, okay, if that's what it takes to do. I hope you guys don't have to all. So with that, I'm going to start, well, time out, okay? It's almost been an hour and a half. I'm an old guy. We're going to take a 2-minute recess. I promise you it'll be 2 minutes, okay? And we'll be right back. We're gonna wait for the commissioners, but there are now 63 public comment requests. So think about it, okay? If you all speak for 1 minute, that's 3 hours. I mean, excuse me, that's 1 hour versus 3 hours for 3 minutes. So I know, hey, what do you want from me? I'm old. I needed a break so early. So anyways, so again, just out of common courtesy, if you want to make your point in less than a minute, there's 62 other people that would probably be happy. But that is your prerogative, and that is completely voluntary, and we will listen and hear every single one of you, okay? So we'll wait for the commissioner before we start. So that would just be common courtesy to your neighbors. So, but that's completely up to you.
Can't they have like a representative?
They can, I mean, we can, yeah.
So to speak, for now?
We can say how many are in favor, how many are against. So we have literally heard all of you, and we will again tonight. So. so there's anyone willing to speak in favor or opposition to the applicant? Members of the audience wishing to address the Planning Commission regarding the public hearing project may come up to the podium when your number is called. I will be calling the green cards, okay? Believe it or not, there's one person with a yellow card for non-agenda public comment, and I apologize, normally it's the other way around, but tonight this is a public hearing, so we will go with the green cards first. I remind speakers that you have 3 minutes technically. Please don't use it all, but okay, all right. Regarding the public hearing project only. So this is not non-agenda public comment. This is regarding this particular project. So, and folks, if you guys would help me with the numbers to keep going. So number 1, please come forward. Green card number 1. There you go, sir. So, and you have to run to that. No, I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you. No. I'm kidding. I'm kidding you, sir.
Hello. So my name is Emmanuel Leon. I'm in favor of the townhomes being built. Simply, short and simple, I'm a first-time home buyer. You know, I am looking for this type of stuff to be built. I want to stay in the city of Downey. You know, I don't want to move out. So something like this is really appealing to me. And I hope when you guys are voting, you guys just consider the younger generation that are looking for homes like this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Number 2. Hi.
It's Carlos Vasquez, and I live here in the city of Downey, and I love to live here. And I support the project to build more houses because we really needed it. I know everyone is complaining about traffic, but all over California is traffic, so we have to deal with it every single day, right? But I support the project to build more houses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna ask something on there. Please, let's all have common courtesy to each other. Let's not speak up when somebody, whether we agree with them or not. Let's just respect each other, okay, please? So either way. Number 3, and I understand we may not agree with the speaker one way or the other, but let's have decency and courtesy.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Patricia. I have been residents of Downey for almost 10 years. We do not need rentals. We need homes to make Downey more valuable. I'm excited for these homes. Maybe I could be a home owner. I'm sure that with these homes, there will be more of a secure and not have young kids, young people in the street of Scout having to do illegal things like donuts and causing accidents.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, number 4. Card number 4.
Good evening, Commissioner and panel. My name is Ricardo Rosales. I live here in Downey. I'm a resident here already about 20 years now. I'm in support of this project of new housing. I want new housing because maybe I could encourage family members or friends to come to this great city. So I ask that you support this project, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Number 5. Green card number 5.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and commissioners. My name is Ivan. I am a resident of Downey, and I'm here to support the apartment project. And the reason being is because I want to purchase a home. I want to stay in Downey as well. I know some people are complaining about the traffic, but I'm 14 years ago, Downey wasn't like it is today. I'm pretty sure that in 1980s it wasn't the same either. But I think LA is growing so much that traffic is just impossible. Try driving from El Segundo to Downey on peak hours, and you probably know that. I mean, traffic is everywhere. Peak hours are just there, So I'm here to support that, and I want you guys to do the same. Please think about as well the younger generation who want to purchase homes, and thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Green card number 6. And number 7, if you can get in the queue. Be ready.
My name's Al Tyner, and I'm against it. I know it's all about money's what it is. Money walks, you know. That's just the way it is. But I don't know. I'm a little bit disappointed with these people. Olson, I thought they were supposed to be so great. Then last week they came in with a bunch of ringers. So, you know, if you live in Downey, you're around Downey, you know what's going on. Anyway, I only have one question to ask, and my friends asked me this. And think about it. I'm not being mean or anything. Is Downey for sale? That's all I have to say.
Okay. Number 7, or number 6.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Cristian Salgado, and I have lived here for about 5 years. And I think we do not need more parks. We have like 10 plus parks, if I'm not wrong. So I support this project because I think we need more houses that are affordable for us, for like the younger generations. I'm a first-time home buyer, so I think we need more houses that are more affordable for the people here in Downey. I love the city, so I think we need this project to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Number 7, 8. 8, and number 9, you're in the queue.
Yeah, hello, my name is Ed Lopez, and it seems like the housing plan is a good idea and much better than the alternatives for the neighborhood and the city. Affordable housing is an issue all over LA, and I think it's important that, you know, this attracts the right type of people, not the wrong people to our city. Thank you.
Great, thank you, sir. Number 9.
Hi, good evening. My name is Anthony Montes. I've been a community member for about a year now, and I've noticed the change ever since I was younger, coming in and out from different cities. This project opens up a lot for a lot of younger generations, like my family, growing. It's always going to continue growing. It brings eyes to the community. It's something that we need. Housing that is affordable, like others have said. The traffic situation, like everyone else is saying, it's LA. It's everywhere. You can't avoid it wherever you go, regardless of where you travel. From here to Downey Landing, you'll probably take 10, 15 minutes, depending on traffic, depending on the hour, you know? So it's just a good housing project for the community. I see it growing, and I see many younger families moving in. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Number 10. Is that number 9, number 10?
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to address all of our issues. I'm Dr. Ziegenbein. We bought a house in the island about 3 years ago. We love the neighborhood. It's so beautiful. It's quiet. It's not congested. There's that park adjacent that's not crowded either. And so, but we noticed as soon as we bought the place that getting in and out of there was just ridiculous. And during high traffic times in the morning, taking our son to and from school, going to work, it can really be very bad. I don't know who designed a 5-street intersection next to a bridge, but whoever did probably zoned that property for a single house, a single housing unit, because having, I don't know, I didn't hear how many people are actually going to be housed in these condominiums, but I guess there's probably 100, 150, something like that. That's, I don't know who did the traffic analysis. It cannot be right, because it's already a disaster. So I think my wife wanted to say something also.
Okay, great. So I assume you're opposed, right? Is that, sir?
She's 11.
No, you, sir, number 10. So I assume you're opposed to this project?
Yes.
Okay.
Opposed, definitely
Okay,
opposed.
all right, no, that's okay. All right, so you're number 11. So she said yes twice.
Yeah, I say yes twice. I mean, you know, there's something to be said about having, you know, these houses there. I'm not opposed to having that. I'm opposed to the fact that it's in that area. So, yeah, so housing is good. And I mean,
Ma'am, if you can address
I
me,
agree.
please. You can address me, not
Right.
the audience,
So,
please. Thank you.
anyway, so my point is that today there was this nice gentleman who said the traffic analysis it's not going to make a big difference. That's absolutely untrue. If you live there, and I don't know if you do, you drive every day, right now it's miserable certain hours. To say it's not gonna make a difference is so untrue. It's so absolutely inaccurate. And I'm not trying to be confrontational here. That's the one thing that bothered me, is that if there was an acceptance that it will make people's lives, it will add to 5-10 minutes, then yes. But to say that it's not gonna make a difference, it's just not true. So I had a medical emergency a couple of months ago. I prayed to God that that emergency will happen at night, because I know when it happens at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 o'clock, I'm not gonna get to that hospital, especially if that medical emergency does not meet the threshold of 911. You're in a hell lot of trouble. I can tell you that. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, number 12. So the louder clapping is not going to make a difference to us, but I just want you to know that. So, yes, sir, go ahead, number 12.
Hello, good
You're number
evening.
12.
My name is Steven, and I'm a resident of Downey. And the project seems like a great example of the housing, and I seen the townhomes in downtown, and it seems like a very nice place, and hope to support the project. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Number 13. 13. There he goes. 14, you're in the queue. Are you number 13, sir? 14. Yeah, okay. Oh, I thought that was, we're all looking at the gentleman that's leaving. Okay, no, yes, sir, it's your turn.
Okay, excuse me, can I speak?
13, wait, is 13 in the house? Or 13 left already? Okay, so. all right.
Can I speak in Spanish? It's okay.
Sí,
bueno, okay.
Algunos de nosotros lo podemos
Hablan
entender.
español. Ok,
pero-
muy bien. Mi nombre es Álvaro Nolasco, soy residente aquí de la ciudad de Downey. Yo ya vivo aquí por 10 años.
I can translate. He said his name. He says he lives here in the community of Downey. Go ahead, sir. I'll translate for everybody.
Ok, mi nombre es Álvaro Nolasco. Vivo aquí por 10 años
10 years he's lived in the city of Downey.
y yo escuché precisamente de este proyecto que me llamó muchísimo la atención.
This project brought his attention.
Hace 13, 14 años yo perdí mi casa y a la hora de ver este proyecto me ilusioné. Tengo 2 hijas en las cuales ya son mayores y ellos me dicen, papi, yo no me quiero ir a otra ciudad, yo quiero estar aquí en Downey.
He was illusioned by this project when he saw it. He's got 2 daughters, and he thought this would be a great project for them to live.
Yo soy maestro de canto y tengo muchos alumnos en esta ciudad y me gustaría realmente seguir con este proyecto. Así es que yo apoyo este proyecto de lo que son las casas. Muchas gracias.
Okay, all right, thank you.
He was
Okay,
in
15.
favor.
Yeah, he's in favor. I think you got, yeah. 15.
Good evening. My name is Carlos Cardenas. I live in Downey for a long time. And I see my future living here, and I see retiring Downey. So having more houses is appealing to stay here. So I'm approved, and I love the idea to have more houses. So I think so it's an opportunity for people come here and haze the amazing on the Downey city. I know it's traffic, but who doesn't have traffic in California? Can you name it some city that don't have traffic? So I love to continue to live here, and I love to continue to retire in Downey. So I approve, and I love the opportunity to have house here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Number 16. 15 or 16? Okay, 16, sir.
Good evening. Thank you, commissioners, for hearing me. My name is Aaron McLennan. I've been a resident of Downey for 10 years. I also live in the island, in Treasure Island there. Have been for the last 10 years as well. The concept of it being affordable housing, I'm a tax preparer and accountant by nature, absolutely ludicrous that $780,000 is affordable housing. And Downey, maybe that's close, and that neighborhood maybe. The problem I have as an owner in that neighborhood was that will decrease the value of my home as well as my neighbors. Bringing cheaper housing in, bringing other things that cause it, not to mention the traffic nightmare that everybody has already spoken of. And it's kind of funny because I don't I don't negate what the traffic commission said, who investigated this, because basically they just said it gets a D. So yeah, it's still going to be a D. So it's already terrible. It's just going to be terrible continued, basically is what they said. So I don't discount what their findings were. I just think it already is really bad. And I hope you guys take that in consideration, that it could get much, much worse with more people living there. Not to mention that it is not affordable at that rate. Only having 3 houses out of 33 and considering it affordable housing sounds ludicrous. But thank you for your time. Appreciate you guys.
I just want to clarify for you, I don't consider this an affordable housing project, just to let you guys know. So, I mean, there's 3 units out of 33, so. 16, is it 16? 17, sorry.
Okay, good evening. My name is Javier Granados. Our family has lived at 7205 Cool Grove Drive. It has been our immense pride and pleasure to have lived on the islands for over 20 years. My children attended Downey schools from elementary through high school. First, we would like to recognize and thank Commissioner Luis Morales and Chairwoman Carrie Uva for their support. For my family and I, there is nothing more valuable than the security and tranquility that this neighborhood has given us. We love the city of Downey. We have supported Downey on every bond issue. We have voted yes on the improvement of the schools, upgrading the firehouses, keeping our Downey Fire Department and Police Department. We have supported our community, not only in our little community, but in all of Downey. Commissioner Guerra, I believe you have a special place in your heart for the island. You have come to our picnics, enjoyed the festivities, had a hot dog or 2, and even won
3 or 4, okay.
and even won the watermelon contest eating. So you have spoken at our unity in the community meetings at the Lord's Grace Church.
I did.
You have supported us through the years, and we in turn have supported you. You have many times praised our island for its cooperation and coming together for a common good. We are neighbors who care and look out for one another. Mr. Guerra, you have referred to the island as a model of what a neighborhood watch program should be. I specifically remember a meeting at the church where you made that comment to the then Chief of Police Campos. Commissioner Guerra, you know the island, and your vote is crucial in deciding our fate. We pray that your decision in this matter is guided by appreciation of the tremendous effect this proposal will have, if passed, on the island and on surrounding areas. This is an emotional issue for me. Mr. Guerra, our family, and many of the islanders urge you to vote no on this proposal. Thank you.
It's nice that somebody paid attention when I spoke back then. So all those things are all true. 20. 18. Well, I'm sorry. No, number 20. No, it's
Good evening. Hi, my name is Jennifer Weed, and I am an islander, actually born and bred on the island. So island is very important to me as well. And I'm also a teacher in Downey Unified. So Downey is a big part of my life. Some of the reasons that I would like to bring it up is the area that they're proposing where the townhomes should be. It's a very small area for 33 units. And I'm very concerned about the traffic, like everyone has expressed. Not only for us, because yes, between 7 and 9 in the morning and 4 and 7 in the evening, it's packed out there. But also for the overflow that goes to Guatemala. A lot of times traffic tries to get to the 5 freeway. It goes down Guatemala and down side streets where there's residents, where there's children, and they've had to put up speed bumps. And with more traffic, they would have to do even more, which would be very hard on those residents as well. I'm also concerned about the bridge. It's a 71-year-old bridge that is out there, and it has a lot of wear and tear on it. I'm worried for emergency vehicles going across that, for school buses that carry special needs children back and forth from school on the island, and that can be impacted by traffic, the emergency vehicles as well, getting to the hospitals. I'm also concerned about the overflow of parking as well. I know it was brought up before, but if there are, say, 3 or 4 adults living in the 3-bedroom townhomes and each of them have a car, even the parking that they're saying that there is going to be 71 parks, it wouldn't be enough if there was 3 or 4 cars per unit. So that is a concern of mine as well. And also, we've had some power outages lately. And when the power goes out, it's sometimes out for an hour at a time, sometimes more. And it affects the traffic lights, and it could cause traffic accidents. So those are some of my concerns, and obviously I'm against it, but I thank you for your time and your consideration for support for my community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. what number are we? 20, 19. I keep wanting 20. 20, you're going to be special 20.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
I'm here to support the proposed community development in Downey. My name is Marilyn Racinos, and I'm not only a proud homeowner of an Olson home, but also a resident of Downey and a member of the HOA board for my community. Having worked closely with the Olson management team, I have witnessed firsthand the exceptional level of care and commitment they bring to our neighborhood. Their dedication to creating and maintaining a thriving, well-maintained community is evident in every aspect of their work. After reviewing the plans for the new community, I'm confident that it will be a superior option compared to other rental alternatives in the area. Despite understandable concerns about traffic, it's essential to recognize that new developments inevitably bring some level of increased traffic. However, with the proper planning and infrastructure improvements, these challenges can be addressed effectively. From an aesthetic standpoint, the proposed development will not only enhance the appeal of our city, but also contribute to the pride of ownership among residents. The thoughtful design and attention to detail will undoubtedly elevate the visual landscape of Downey, further solidifying its reputation as a desirable place to live. As someone who has experienced the positive impact of an Olson home firsthand, I firmly believe that expanding such communities is crucial to addressing the housing shortage. By providing more opportunities for homeownership and fostering a sense of community pride, we can create a brighter future for Downey and its residents. Thank you.
Number 20. Yay. Whoever 20 is. 20? Oh, see, 20, you were special too. 21, please. You're up next.
Good evening. My name is Serenity Casey, and I'm a resident of Downey. I'm asking the Planning Commission to support the project since it will provide much needed housing, and it will be better to have the option to buy instead of renting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 21? 22? Thank you. Keep me focused, please. I'd appreciate that. I don't know why I have a short attention span on the numbers.
Hi, hello, Downey Council members. My name is Karen. I've been a resident of Downey for more than 10 years. I support the housing project because it will make that side of Downey look more appealing and modern. The HOA will be a great addition as well, and it's not rentals, it's homes, and it could stabilize a lot of people. Thank you.
22. 23.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas noches. Yo soy residente de la ciudad de aquí de Downey y estoy a favor del proyecto.
Hold on one second, ma'am. She is a resident of the city of Downey, and she's in favor of this project.
Sí,
Sigue, señora.
creo que esto beneficiaría mucho a la ciudad de Downey y estoy de acuerdo con el proyecto.
She thinks this would benefit the city of Downey, and she's in favor of this project.
Los apoyo al 100%.
She supports it 100%.
Muchas gracias.
Sí, muchas gracias. Thank you, ma'am. 24. 24, 25, 26, 24, yes, please. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Jesus, and I am resident of Downey. And this project seems like a great example of the type of housing we need. Here I have seen their townhomes in the downtown, and they are very nice. Please support this project and help, please. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for my English.
That's okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming. Is that? Yeah, he supports. Yeah, support, yeah. Thank you. 25?
Good evening. My name is Jacqueline Navarro, and I am a current resident of Downey, and I am for this project. I am aware of the current traffic problems in that specific area of town, but I believe that Olson's project will diminish the current issues within the stuff that they built within the property. Please support this project. Thank you.
26. Oh, hey,
Good
how
evening,
are you?
Commissioners. Born and raised in Downey, island resident for many, many years, almost my whole life. I believe we have an opportunity here to make this land use a lock-in and not allow it to be used as a potential low income, and having home ownership versus rental is going to be far better for our community. And so I see this as an opportunity for us to kind of like lock that decision in and not allow any future potential lower opportunities to come in. And Olson Company has a track record with you guys. And here in the city of Downey, you've seen their work, and I believe that they can still continue to do well for our community. Thank you.
I fell on my bike pretty badly riding through the Treasure Island, and I hurt my knee pretty bad. I'm lying in the middle of the street. Mr. Fiala drives by and puts his bike in the back of his pickup and drove me home. So thank you, Mr. Fiala. I remember that. So, we're not supposed to have conversation, but I had to say that. So 26. 27. My bike did better than my knee did.
Hi, good evening. My name is Michelle Martin. I've been a resident of the island for 25 years. I don't particularly like change. I don't think many people in this room would say, yeah, let's get rid of the church and put in homes. But while I do respect my neighbors' efforts and to preserve our island community, the reality is, as the pastor spoke out last time, the property is going to be sold. The property is for sale. The issues with traffic and parking are going to be issues regardless. So it is going to be developed at some point. Whether we like it or not, that's just the reality of what happens these days with especially with the mandate of the housing that the city is going to have to provide. So I'm speaking tonight in favor of this project because I don't want to be here a couple years down the road speaking against a possible apartment complex or other single-family homes with opportunities of ADUs and additional situations. So yes, there are issues with emergency vehicles and the traffic and the parking, but those are going to be issues regardless of what the property is developed into. And like I said, I think the reality is it's going to be sold, it's going to be developed, and I think this is the best option that's available to us. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. 28. 28, please. Thank you, Hector.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you. My name is Christina Martinez, and I'm a Downey Island resident for 24 years now. And I want to share with you, I've heard a lot on both sides. I think that Olson has provided a lot of information, but at the end of the day, I think that there are certain parameters that we're not going to be able to, that are kind of unknown. And my concern is things like, first of all, how affordable really are. I know they're not being presented as affordable housing, but that's part of the thing, right? That we're going to have some affordable housing, but really how affordable are going to be those units? My concern is there going to be limitations on the number of people that can live in a unit? Because that can really skew the figures that have been presented to us today. As I think the speaker in Olson said, is that right now, there's not really even enough space to allow the traffic to go a certain way. And so that could potentially create more congestion issues. I can speak firsthand as somebody who lived in a different community. I lived in Bell prior to buying my home in Downey. And we had a very similar situation. We were homeowners there, or my parents were, really. And they built townhomes behind our home. And they packed them in there, similar to this proposal, 3 stories high, as a matter of fact, very congested, very impacted. And over the course of 10 years, that area deteriorated. They couldn't control the number of people who were actually living in the units. And the projections they gave us as a community weren't really realistic. So I have firsthand experience on how something like that can impact the community, and I don't want that for my community. So I oppose this housing project.
Thank you. 29.
Good evening. My name is Rocio. I have been living in this city for 18 years. I approve of this project for the growth of our community. There are many young people who will benefit. Thanks for the work that you, council members and commissioners. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. 30.
Hi, good evening. My name is Gabriel Martinez. I've been living in the island for 24 years. I remember you eating that watermelon, winning that watermelon contest. I was there. I'm opposed to this simply because if you see the towers that they built, they're pretty substantial. They're huge. Okay, coming out of the island, you're going to see this giant wall of these, houses that are squeezed together, packed tight together. Okay, they look almost like container homes, straight up. Okay, that's not what I want to see. Okay, we all heard the traffic. People are saying, "Oh well, let there be more traffic." I don't agree with that. Okay, we already went through that, right? The condos, they don't comply with a lot of your municipal codes. If I try to build something on my house, I have to be at 100%. If not, guess what? I don't get that. I didn't get my solar panels because there was one little thing that was wrong. I didn't get a waiver like these guys are getting, right? Because I don't have the money, right? I don't have $30,000, right? And Mr. Guerra, you called it, why do they keep calling it affordable low-income houses? Because that's what they're calling it. Only 3 out of the 33 that are going to be there are going to be affordable. That's why they keep calling it. They keep saying that word, affordable, affordable. It's not affordable for a lot of people. There's going to be more than one family living in some of those, okay? From experience, from what I've seen before, okay? The impact on impact of the car situation or they're driving forest, that's just an analysis. It's not factual. Okay, I lived on the island for 24 years, and it's not factual what they're giving, the information that they're giving us. They can't find a different place to find it, to build it, right there next to Walmart where the fire department was, right? They can build 33 homes in that little square place, and that place where the fire department was before they built the new firehouse, they can build 1,000 homes there, according to how small they're building it. So there are places behind the municipal court, right? There's another place there, another 1,000 places there. Okay, so yeah, we do need the housing, but not there, okay? They also, said you either get condos or you get apartments. Kind of threatening. Either one we don't want. If they want to build apartments there, we're also gonna fight that. We don't want that there, okay? There's other places they can build. Why that community? Why that little space? Why is it that they're trying to squeeze all these people in there? There's going to be a big impact, okay? And don't get me wrong, they look nice, but they can look nice in somewhere else, okay? In the community, okay? I mean, or somewhere else, okay? But not there, okay? But yeah, I am opposed to this, okay? And like I said, they may look nice, but not there. Thank you.
Thank you. 31.
Good evening. My name is Rocio Duarte. I am a resident of the island at Downey and oppose the project for several reasons. I'm going to try and speed read. I have so many things to say. I don't have that 730-page paper document to explain my reasons.
You want to borrow this, ma'am? No, I'm kidding.
But I do represent the vast majority of our island residents. And that I know because I was part of also asking my neighbors what their thoughts are and basically having them sign some petitions if they were in agreement. So here are some of my reasons. As mentioned prior, increased traffic is basically a significant reason. A remote research data may indicate a safe environment provided by systems within the past few months or even a year. However, it does not, it may take being a long-time resident of the area to fully comprehend the immense increase in traffic and safety concerns in that area. I have lived in that island since 2009, a year prior to the birth of my youngest son. And by the time that he became of age to walk to and from school, I was concerned about having him cross the park and then crossing the bridge and continuing his way to school. I had the means to provide alternate transportation, but there are those that have no choice, including students that are walking to school from our neighboring city, Bell Gardens. The traffic is horrible during peak hours. I have seen vehicles on a daily basis blocking intersections. Our residents do not want to wait for a tragedy to prove a point. Traffic is the lead. Traffic is basically directed towards our schools. Particularly, we have Mott Price and Griffiths Middle School, and this makes it also unsafe for parents to drop off their children. I did hear the 14 additional seconds that would be added to the traffic signal, but the problem is not the traffic signal, it's actually the stop sign at Guatemala, which provides us that blockage in that intersection. So no increase in time on that signal will increase that flow of traffic. Also with that in mind, we have to keep also emergency vehicles and access to them. Police officers, fire departments, paramedics, especially during high traffic days. Emergency vehicles have a difficult time getting through the island if at that particular time, and of course, these emergencies are unforeseeable. Parking, the company representative explained that parking is limited to residents, but parking will be an issue not only at a park, but also along the streets, even if they're red zoned. Overall, this is my request, maybe a consideration over a different option. We did not really get much information about other alternatives, and I request for that time and no rezoning at this time. Thank you for your time and for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. Next. 32.
Good evening. My name is Rosa Revuelta. I actually live on 7322 Foster Beach. I will be highly impacted by the 33 units that are being proposed. On a good day, it takes me about 20 minutes to 30 minutes to get from my home to my kid's school who attends Price Elementary. I feel for the person before me who spoke about having an emergency during traffic time. My whole family and neighbors will be affected. I'm also concerned with more crime due to cars parked right outside my property, and I'm wondering how are they gonna resolve that issue? I am not in favor.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. $33. I'll pass. 34. Okay, come on up. 34, he's outside. 34. So, okay. You only get 10 seconds because you were so far away. No, I'm kidding. No. 34, 35, you're in the queue, please.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Hi, good evening. My name is Carlos Gomez. I am the one that sent the email.
Oh, the nasty email.
Nice to
Thank
finally
you.
meet you. It wasn't that nasty, you know. No, you've done a lot for the city, Mario. You know, at the end of the day, most of the people that I've talked to do appreciate everything you've done for the city. Now, I do live 500 feet from the project, you know, so I live in the island. I have been the one really trying to circulate petitions and, you know, just get the concerns, right? I do want to thank the Planning Commission for being transparent. I did go on the website. I did see it's like 750 plus documents out there that are available, you know, which is everything's in there. I really encourage everybody that, you know, is whether you're opposed or against this project, take the time to just scan through it. You know, there's a lot of images, illustrations. There's a lot of good material out there, including all our petitions, all our signatures. But it is amazing and pretty much crazy that we're here today. I pass by there all the time, and it's just something not feasible. I've talked to the Olsen homes several times. Everything about them has been very suspect. I mean, just to say it. So obviously I'm against this project, but one of my concerns while reviewing the document was the 7 concessions, right, that are being asked. If you look at it, I mean, they're asking for extra inches and feet in the front, the side, the back, you know, everything against the current Downey Municipal Code. You know, I don't know, like, if I'm not in planning. I don't know if this is something common with the Planning Commission where we just pass 7 concessions like this. But the one that really affects me is I guess the Quimby Act, right? Which is, I guess it's like 9,000 or 10,000 square feet that's designated for recreational space. Elias, in the last meeting, you said that people deserve to live the way we do, right? These people are not gonna live the way we do. It's gonna be a prison. That's what it's gonna look like. I mean, it's just closed off, no space, no nothing, with a 30-year term. You know, all these paid actors that are here or whatever, they don't live nowhere near us. And, you know, the reality is we're the ones that are gonna vote in November. And I know there's 3 seats up, right? And everyone I've talked to say, you know, let them do their vote. We'll get them in November. And, you know, I do wanna give some credit to Dorothy Pemberton, who has been very active, very, you know, she's gone above and beyond from when she got first elected, and she's not shying away from anything. She has offered to meet with everyone, so hopefully we can, you know, get her to Treasure Island to meet multiple times. But you know, I really hope that we do the right thing here. You know, so thank you.
Sir, I'm not running for anything, by the way, just to let you know. I'm not
Somebody
running for
appointed
any
you.
office on there, so. Next, 35?
Good evening. My name is Scott Anderson. I've been a resident of the island for over 20 years. The city of Los Angeles is currently generating very unwelcome headlines and very unflattering visuals of a giant high-rise complex that has seen no additional construction for 5 years, is now derelict and is covered in vandalism. That is a result of overeager developers bending rules, massaging information, and trying to put too much building in a place where it did not belong. The same thing is happening in miniature here, in this case. Downey needs housing. Increased population is coming to Downey. Increased population density is coming to Downey. For their own reasons, the Lord Grace Church has decided to sell their land. It makes sense for that land to be turned into residential housing. It makes sense for a certain number of units to be put in that space. 33 is not that number. Why? All the reasons that have been gone over, and particularly traffic, traffic, traffic. As I mentioned during the last meeting, the numbers that we're being presented with for analysis are ridiculous. On my way here tonight, I decided to count the traffic for myself. I traveled along Suva to Paramount from the island. I started counting at Wiley Burke, and by the time I reached Tweedy, I had passed 18 cars going the other way. This was close to 6:30, 20 minutes after the supposed peak. GPS has turned Suva Street and Foster Bridge into major thoroughfares in and out of the city. And that's not going anywhere anytime soon. Add to that what is presumably a one-car-at-a-time gate on Foster Bridge, and you're looking at even more congestion, with people seeking to avoid that delay by driving onto the island along Bluff, Glencliff, and River Grove to try to get around it. That's the best-case scenario. The worst case is that these units are simply overpriced for what they offer. Unflattering views, a limited amount of living space, a limited amount of parking. There is a chance that if these units get completed, they simply will not sell, and they will stand empty and become derelict. Perhaps the city can work with the Stay Gallery to provide the property equipment so that at least the graffiti taggers can use coordinated colors. Thank you.
Next, 35, 36. 36? 36, 37? Yeah, come on, 37, 36?
I got 37.
No, come ahead. Are you 36, sir?
I'm giving you, sir.
Okay, you're a very nice man. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Margarita Revuelta. I'm a resident at Downey, especially Foster Bridge Road, for 34 years. Lately, I see a lot of traffic. I've been trapped in my own house. I try to get out of my driveway, either to go City of Downey or Bell Gardens. I can. I'm frustrated with the situation. And the reason is because Florence Avenue is packed. Anyway, anytime is packed. So people using our street to come to City of Downey or Bell Gardens. It's only one bridge. And I think everybody knows it's impossible to do another street or another bridge. So why you permit people from outside come and impose 33 houses? If we don't agree, they want to do 79 apartments to rent when we are the family at Downey and communities. We say no, and we will say no. I'm opposed, and I believe everybody on the island opposed to this decision. I hope you reconsider and thinking that this is wrong, wrong, and wrong. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, 38. Is that whatever number you have? 38, yes. 39 is in the queue.
My name is Jose Delgado, and I live in the island. I've lived in the island for 36 years. And if I was a resident of Downey, I would say this is great. You got some new housing. However, since I live in the island, that is our bloodline there. That's how we access the world. In case of emergency, yes, we've talked about traffic, and I've noticed that the reports are that it will not noticeably increase traffic. But if you're in the island, it's going to increase it significantly. And if I understand that the traffic was based upon a handbook, but I bet that handbook does not have a four-way intersection, a bridge, 100-foot bridge, and then a five-way signal. That just doesn't make any sense. So yes, I agree that we need housing, and I don't like to be threatened with 91 units being put in there if I don't agree with 33. I think we need housing, but 33 is way too many. Thank you.
39.
Hi, good evening. First of all, I feel that if the project was so great, it wouldn't be necessary to coach so many people to come and speak, supporting. And, second of all, I just want to speak that 13 years ago, I became a Downey resident. Prior to that, I grew up in Los Angeles, and I remember 28 years ago, something similar went on in the neighborhood where I lived. And they said it wasn't going to have an impact, even though our street was already being used as an alternate street. Well, 28 years ago, my brother got ran over by a car due to the traffic. He was dragged for a whole block, and he has permanent brain damage due to that. I currently live on Suba. My daughter attends Griffiths Middle School. I see those children walking home. Not every parent is able to pick up their child every day or drop them off in the morning. So we think traffic, and I know that a lot of people are saying, well, we can't do anything about traffic. Well, traffic entails so much more than that. And one of that being the safety of our children. Not once has it been mentioned as well that during the weekend, the fields of Price and Griffiths are used as sports to host sport events for the children. You have an overwhelming amount of more traffic and a lot of children crossing the street. I don't understand, maybe I need to go back to school, but I really don't understand how the traffic analysis was done. From what I know, 1 + 1 = 2, and I don't know how adding traffic will, decrease the problem or not add to any problem at all. So I really hope that you take into consideration everything that the traffic entails. Yes, as adults, we have to deal with the traffic, but nobody wants to deal with a child being hospitalized, fighting for their life, months, not knowing if they're gonna make it when we could have made a decision. I have a 26-year-old, and my dream and my hope and my goal is that one day she too becomes a homeowner, but it shouldn't be at the cost of somebody else's expense or safety. Currently, we are homeowners, or we live in Downey, and we want to support growth. We want to support for our young adults, to become homeowners. And I do believe that the project, can be great, like it's been said, somewhere else. This is just not the place for it. So please, take that into consideration. Have a good night.
39, 40.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Excuse my English, and I'm nervous. But I'm a resident of the island for almost 30 years, and I like the island, and like another residents, and I don't agree the project. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. 41. And 42, you're in the queue. Wow, this would be amazing if we can get by this. When you beg people, it works.
Hi.
Hi, ma'am.
My name is Mary.
Ma'am, could you move the mic down a little bit, ma'am? The mic so we can hear you. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Mary Acosta, and I live in the island for 38 years. When I came to the island, it was like I was dreaming. Everybody seems so perfect, and it's so perfect. I had the best neighbors. And when we had the picnic, it's more greater. It seems like paradise to us. Okay. On the school, my children, they graduate from Warren High School. They're very good children, excellent kids, and proud to be citizens of Downey. Myself, what can I tell you about myself? I'm against it, totally against it. And I agree with all these people, and I had the same feelings, and I wish I can speak good English. If I were to speak good English, believe me, I'd probably be sitting next to you. And I thank you so much.
Ma'am, we understood you, ma'am. God bless you. 42. I don't know why I have a mental block on these numbers. It's like-
Good evening. My name is Miguel. I've been living in the island for 33 years. And I want to keep it the way it is. I'm against this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. 44. 43. 43.
All right, good evening, Commission and Mr. Guerra. First and foremost, I give credit where credit is due. Thank you, Mr. Guerra, for allowing us 3 minutes, regardless of the number of speakers. I hope that the City Council takes notes. Right off the bat, I want to say that I'm against the project for all the reasons already stated. I do want to touch upon a couple of points that were brought up today. Number one, with regards to this is the best alternative. The alternative is much worse. That to me, from talking to the residents, has been somewhat of a stick scare tactic. The reason being is currently under SB 9, a developer can only build 2 units, not 3. It's a 55,000 square foot lot, 1.27 acres, which is 55,000. I believe the ordinance says 5,000 minimum square feet per home. So that would be 11 units. If you build an additional unit, that would be 22 units, not a 33, because you have to be a homeowner, you have to live on the property to have that third ADU. This is what I was told by a developer. I'm not one. So that would be 22 units, not 33 units. And if it was so much better and more profitable for them to do, then why wouldn't they do that and just skip this whole circus? A few people are under the impression that this is an affordable housing project to some extent. So if we look on the lower end, let's say $600,000, 3.5% down, what's the monthly payment all in, including mortgage insurance? $6,000, $7,000. On the higher end, $750,000. Can anyone that spoke today saying that this is a great opportunity to buy a home really say that I can afford a $7,000 mortgage payment? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, but it's not affordable housing. As a matter of fact, if you listen to the Bill Handel show on Monday and Tuesday, they were talking about this mandate, and they said how preposterous this is and that they're going to fight it because the mandate does not meet what it was intended for, which was to create affordable housing. It's just creating overpopulation and more density and more traffic. Lastly, or one of the points is, my third point is, can we validate those letters in support? We had over 500 signatures that we requested last meeting to be validated in opposing the project. Now, all of a sudden, there's 404. Can we validate those? I do know that I could show you after, I received a text inviting me to a dinner pre-celebration along with other residents that were against the project, that saying thank you for your support when we were against the support. So I just want to question those numbers. So again, I'm against it. I was there when an ambulance, I took Mayor Trujillo and another commissioner, and an ambulance couldn't get, it's just, we're destroying the single family residents, we're destroying the heart and soul. These developers, God bless them, but they're not going to stay here in Downey after the project's built. We are. So please take that into consideration. Thank you.
44.
Hello, good evening. So I am not a resident of the island, but I'm close by. And I've been at my home off of Suva in Guatemala for almost a decade now. And I don't know when the traffic, testing was done, but I don't think it was during school season, because when you take your kids to school and when everyone's trying to get there in the morning, it really backs up. And I don't think that it's anybody on the island, but when you cross over to Guatemala and Suva, a lot of people blow through that stop sign, and that's a stop sign that I count on to get my kids to school safely. And I know it sucks, it backs up and it's terrible. We don't have sidewalks when we go out on walks. Our community is really big on taking walks, cycling, running, and there's nothing that stops us from being on the road. So having 33 units that are bringing in at least two vehicles per household is gonna increase it a lot, and it's gonna the risk of people getting hurt, especially in our area of Guatemala, Suva, Wiley, Burke, we don't have sidewalks. We just walk on the street, and we count on our neighbors to be looking out for us. And I know a few people, we started a petition to get some speed bumps, on our street. And these are things that we're trying to do on our own to make it safer for our kids. So I just feel like 33 is not the right number, and I would love for there to be more housing available here in Downey. I have sisters, I have brother-in-laws that I would want to be around me, and if that was converted into maybe a residential zone for like the number 2, which is the 2-family, like townhomes, duplexes, something like that that's smaller, I don't think that would be a problem, but 33 is just too much. And yeah, so just thank you for listening. And I'm opposed, so if that wasn't clear.
Thank you. 45 and 46, you're in the queue.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sandy Medina, and I've spoken here at the previous City Hall meeting about the construction of the 33 townhomes that can replace the now closed down church. I insist that this idea will bring more good things than bad things. Despite an increase in the flow of traffic and pedestrians, the result of community growth will create jobs for people like street patrolling, for police and security workers, sanitation workers, engineers, electricians, and any other productive workers, things community members may think of. Some community members already living here may be worried about a resulting increase in crime, lack of car parking spots, and even vandalism. But like all productive economies and communities in California, population growth is always a positive result for any city. 33 townhomes will not destroy an entire neighborhood so long as proper measures are taken to ensure the safety of residents living there. Thank you, and I hope you make the right decision about this.
Okay, I had to dig in there. 46.
Hi, good evening. My name is Karen. I've been a resident along with my husband in this city. We love this community, and we're hoping to be first buyers soon. So I'm in favor of this project. Thank you.
47 and 48, you're in the queue. 47, there you go, sir.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Buenas.
Mi nombre es Enrique. Soy residente de Downey.
His name's Enrique, and he's a resident of Downey.
Estoy de acuerdo con el proyecto porque traerá beneficios a nuestra comunidad.
He's in favor of the project because it'll bring housing to the community.
Inclusive, las investigaciones muestran que aumentar el acceso a vivienda
I didn't hear what you said, sir.
es la estrategia más rentable para reducir la pobreza y aumentar la movilidad económica de nuestra comunidad.
I still didn't understand.
It will help the economy.
Oh, yeah, okay, good. Okay, I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry. No puedo entenderlo también, perdóname. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
It's going to help the economy in the city, is what he said. 48. You're the only non-Spanish speaking person.
Good evening. My name is Gerardo, and I'm a resident of Downey, and I have been my whole life. I'm asking the Planning Commission to support this project since it will provide much-needed housing, especially for people who live in Downey, considering the rise in homelessness across California. And as someone who at a young age felt the feeling of losing your home, I don't see how more affordable housing can't benefit the community. And as for the traffic, any long-time or new citizen can tell you that Downey has traffic all over the place. And it's not anything new, nor will this project have such a grand effect on traffic that the streets will be inoperable and life as a citizen of Downey would change forever.
Thank you, sir. 49.
Good evening. My name is Victor, and I've been a resident of Downey for my entire life with my family. And I'm asking the Plan Commission to support this project since not only will it support those in need of housing, but people like me who plan to continue off their life here in the city next to our family. So I'm asking them to support on this project.
Thank you, sir. 50. Number 50. 51. And 52, you're in the queue. Oh, you're 50, sir? Oh, ma'am, he'll go right in front of you, and then you can go next. Thank you.
Hola.
Hi.
Mi nombre es Samuel. Soy residente de Downey y
He's
me
a-
parece que el proyecto
He's a resident of Downey.
me parece que el proyecto es beneficioso para la comunidad porque da beneficios para los jóvenes que quieran emprender como familia y puedan alquilar o comprar. ¿Sí? Por eso lo apoyo. Gracias.
He says he's in favor of it because it'll help families and young people on there to buy housing in Downey. Go ahead, ma'am. 51, I think you were next.
Okay, my name is Adrian, and I am not a paid actor. I keep hearing comments like something needs to be built there, and if it's not condos, it's going to be something worse. But with all the possibilities and options, is that really the best we can offer our community? I don't think so. The discussion about the condos has indeed highlighted existing issues, but that doesn't make building them a good idea. Our community deserves better than that. We must explore alternatives that will uphold the integrity and character of our treasure island. And we might need more housing, yeah, I firmly believe that, but this is not the location or place. Steve mentioned that Suva will only be used for making right exits, which Foster Bridge will be the main route for entering and exiting the facility. However, I believe that this is not a wise decision because consider what happens during peak traffic hours. The entrance features an automated gate. I don't know if you guys knew that, but there is, which will lead to delays. If there's heavy traffic and someone wants to exit via Suva to head towards Paramount because Foster Bridge is too congested, this is going to lead them to attempt a U-turn and an already busy four-way stop at Suva and Scouts, potentially causing further traffic. Given the automated gate, we need to consider how long it's going to take to open and allow each vehicle through without causing further backups. There's a reason why people are drawn to Treasure Island, this hidden gem in the city of Downey. It's not just a picturesque scenery or the tranquil streets lined with trees over Dos Rios Street. It's the feeling of peace, serenity that fills the air. Treasure Island may be a well-kept secret to some, but to us, it's a source of immense pride. We cherish our little corner of the world, and we are committed to preserving its beauty and charm for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. 51, 2, 52, and then 53, you're on the queue.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nora Lee, and I'm resident of Downey. And please be patient with my English. I'm here to support the new housing project, and I believe this is the best option for the city. I ask you to support as well, too. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. 54. 3. 53 and 54, you're in the queue.
Hello, my name is Rosalba, and I support this project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 54. 54. Okay, 55. 55, is that you, ma'am? Oh, are you 55? We're all watching her. Okay, are you 55, man? Yes, come on up. 55? Yes. Oh, we ran out of green cards, huh? So we had a blue one now. Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah. Hi, good evening. My name is Xiomara. I come in because I'm favor for this project because the young people need a better future, and they can find it here and buying a house. That is the reason support this one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am. 56? 56? Are you 56, ma'am? Oh, 57 then. I don't see 56, so 57, go ahead, ma'am. Is there a 58? I think we had 60 altogether, right? So we're on the home stretch. What's that? 62. Oh, we go all the way to 62. Thank you. Go ahead, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Hi, my name is Maria Almazan. I live on the island on Glencliff, which is the street, the entrance to the island. And in answer to the question that Mr. Sekeli had last time about the overflow of cars from the very ambitious 33-unit project, where they would be going to my street. Because the surface streets, the side streets, there is no overnight parking, so then they would come to my street. And when we bought our home there 28 years ago, we paid it off since, and we plan to retire there, but we don't want to live in a parking lot. We want to live in the street we bought into, a nice, clean street. Now, lately, we had some donut makers, those spinners, those car spinners, in the corner of Glencliff and Bluff. We are traumatized every time we hear a engine running now, like wheels turning now, burning. We had them there, and we were praying that they would not lose control of those cars, and we would call the police, and the police would not come. They were doing it every week, every 4 days, and we were scared. Why didn't they come? Because crime is up, and the police can't handle all that crime. I was at Ralph's the other day at night, and I was walking out, and a girl just walked out with goods without paying. The employees couldn't do anything, didn't even bother calling the police. They're overwhelmed. The police is overwhelmed. Now, 150 plus more people to a small community is not gonna help. They're saying there's more eyes to watch out. Where are they gonna watch that when they call the police, they don't come? Because there's things worse than a car getting broken into or something like that. It's not good for our small community. It's not gonna help. We love our community. We clean our community. My husband and I walk down the bike trail and we pick up trash because we're proud of our community. I go into the riverbed and pull out the clothes that homeless throw in there because that's all going to go into the ocean, and we don't want that. We care for our city, for the community. So we're not against new housing, but 33 that's too ambitious for that small piece of land. Please don't sell us out to corporate greed. Thank you.
58, yes, sir. 59, you're in the queue. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, it is a safety issue for me. We understand that we're saying traffic's not going to impact, it's going to be impacted. They're going to go down River Grade, down Glencliff, down Bluff. I do live on the island. That was my wife that just spoke right now. We are against this project. It seems very ambitious, building 33 homes, not having enough parking for all 33 homes. You can't expect the homes not to have more than 1 or 2 or 3 cars at a time. So even the people visiting their homes, where will they park? 5 parking spaces? It's not affordable housing. $700,000 is not affordable. $307,000 for 3 homes? That's not affordable housing. Think of something reasonable that be put there. Somebody said the church not being used. The church is still being used. It's still being operated. It's still being kept up. It hasn't been sold, so they're still trying to get money when people go and give in donation plates. So the church is still operating. They're maintaining it. If that's possible, why don't we have another church go in there? It'll help the community, like they say. It'll unite us. But having all those homes and trying to direct traffic in different directions just to alleviate the crossing of the bridge, it's not going to happen. It's just going to be something that's going to impact safety. It's going to be a nightmare for the fire department. I feel sorry for them. They're trying to do everything they can to protect residents. The police department does everything they can. They're so spread out all over city. Downey's big. I've been here in Downey for over 45 years. I did the whole school system in Downey. Now I purchased a home in Downey over 28 years ago. But I worked for it, and I worked really hard. Did I pay a lot? Yes, I did. Was it affordable housing? No, it wasn't. But I worked for it. I had to work for all this affordable housing. All these people say they're residents of Downey, and they want to be and buy there. You're going to be able to buy 3 homes. Because the other people are going to buy the other 30 homes are going to have great jobs, excellent families that work maybe both people to afford a place like that. So having that type of, to maybe say something that's not like true to the residents of other parts of Downey, saying, oh yeah, you can buy homes here, they'll be affordable. That's not true. Think of something reasonable that could go in there. As a planning commission, that would be your job, protecting what's the quality of life of Downey. I bought into it. That's why I'm living there. I liked it. Bought a home there because I like the quality of life. I don't think I'm going to like it anymore after that. I think it's nice. Now it's time to make a change, but to better the community. And if you look at Telegraph and Tweety, they built something there. Everybody's parked in the street. Here downtown Downey, everybody's parked in the street because they can't park in their homes. They got too many cars. Traffic has increased. So it's going to change community? Definitely, for the worse. I don't approve the project.
'59.
Good evening, Commissioner and panel. My name is Claudia Calderon. I've been living in the island for close to 20 years. My husband and I raised our 2 daughters here in Downey, and we love the island. Everybody's been talking about all the impact in the bad sense that it's going to have on us, the ones who do live there. Other people that live in some other parts of Downey, they're not going to be impacted the way we are going to be impacted. As you can see, everybody talks about that there's only 2 ways to go out of the island. And the peak hours are terrible, okay? I lived there for almost 20 years, and they're not good. And adding more people in the same small area is not gonna be good. It's gonna be much worse for the traffic. There's something wrong with all the traffic analysis that have been presented, because adding much more people to a small area definitely is going to impact the traffic. Is going to be much, much worse. I beg you not to approve this project. I oppose this project because we are the ones who are going to be impacted. Please don't approve this. It's going to be very bad for our community. Please protect our island and our community. Thank you.
60, number 60. 61, you're in the queue.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Adelina y yo estoy de acuerdo en que se hagan casas, porque es desesperante la situación que tenemos en estos tiempos de que las
Perdón un
personas...
momentico. She gives her name. She said she's in favor of housing there. Okay, sigue,
Yes.
señora.
Y también quiero decir que porque la gente joven no tiene la oportunidad
That the
de
young people,
comprar o rentar una casa.
that the young people don't have an opportunity to buy houses.
Ok, gracias.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, 61. There you go, ma'am.
I'm excited. I'm sorry, my English, I have a lot of
It's
accent.
okay, ma'am. Don't
My
worry about it.
husband is an English teacher. He's gonna get mad at me after that, so I don't care. I get the last number because I say, no, I'm not gonna talk. I don't wanna speak. Nobody understand what I say. But you know what? I get so passionate. I'm so upset. I'm so mad. And I think that our future community is in your hands, that I'm speaking from my heart. And I just write a little note on myself.
Sure.
My name is Sally Granados, and I have been living in the island for 20 years. Me and my husband buy the house, and when we buy the house, they say, if you got the house, you guys need to be block captain. And what the hell? But I don't know. Yes, I don't know what it was. But I said yes because I really want to buy the house. I understand that a lot of people want a piece of Downey. They love Downey. But the thing is this, and as a matter of fact, we become very active in our community. And I was the one that made you eat all the watermelon contents in our picnic. You remember?
Uh-huh.
All right?
Yeah, I do.
I forced you.
I made an impression.
It was one of our great picnic with the police department, with the fire department.
It was.
That's why everybody have all these memories on their hearts, because no other community have this that we build in that. But it's not me, it's all the community. So that's why everybody is a little upset in here, because this is our future. My kids grew up in here, and the thing is this, I think this project looks very attractive for people, and I understand that everybody wants to live in Downey. Young people, my daughter is a young lady. Of course, everybody has the right to buy homes. But honestly, I think they say it's gonna be affordable, and they sell the dream. The dream had been sold to people, and that's why a lot of people really believe in this, but not us, not the residents of the island. So I think for the people that live, the truth is that this project sounds too good to be true. The way how they present it to people and sell the dream to people, and definitely it's not gonna be affordable for everybody. And this will definitely change forever our community. And as a matter of fact, people is thinking to move already, to sell their homes. It's gonna be a change. People that have been living in there, original owners for 50 years, they are very concerned about all this. And I don't think they don't wanna live it there anymore, because they know this definitely will affect the people that live in there. And other people talk about the traffic and talk about population, but I think your vote definitely is gonna define the future of all families forever. Please, before you vote, please, and think about our traditional island community that is in your hands today. And from my heart, really think about your vote tonight, because we'll change families forever. Thank you.
Thank you. 62. 62? There you go. 62, and then 63 is up next.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Carmen y yo soy residente de la ciudad de Downey por más de 15 años.
Her name's
Y yo-
Carmen, and she's lived in the city of Downey for over 15 years.
Y yo apoyo este proyecto al 100% porque es una oportunidad para alguno de mis hijos de poder empezar su propio hogar y no tener que salirse de la ciudad de Downey a poder conseguir una vivienda.
Pero es un momentico. She supports this project down there because she's hoping that one of her kids can grow, can buy it and not have to move out of the city of Downey.
Porque en estos tiempos ya las viviendas están sus costos muy elevados en estas ciudades, y este proyecto estaría muy buena opción para alguien de nuestros hijos que está empezando su propio hogar. Gracias.
Okay, gracias, thank you. This project is an opportunity for folks, and how do you want to help me paraphrase the last part of it? But
Yes, it's just giving an opportunity for younger people to buy, because the economy is so expensive right now that she wants her kids to hopefully buy in Downey.
she's in favor of that.
She's in favor.
Yeah. Okay, gracias, señora. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alfred Calderon. I live on Cool Grove. I've been living there since 2004, and I am opposed to this project. Like everybody mentioned, the traffic and everything, they've done studies, but what they don't take into consideration is, like me a few years ago, we got stuck. We got stuck right on the bridge. Not only is it embarrassing, but everybody's looking at you and you feel foolish, and what can you do? And just that alone, if there's an emergency happening, it could be a nightmare. And it's gonna be a nightmare anyway. And all these people who are in favor of it, they're not thinking of when they go to purchase it, it's gonna be very expensive. So likely 2 or 3 families would move in together. I could see that happening. And every family would have like 4 or 5 cars. So the cars are gonna be parked in the street. More crime will happen. I have family in Huntington Park. We go there, can never find parking. Have to go around the block, and it's a mess. Why is that happening? Oh, a lot of apartments, a lot of people here. Everybody has 3 or 4 cars, so I see it. So I know that would happen here. I understand that people want homes, an opportunity to buy homes in Downey, but like other people have said, that's not the right location. There are other places that are larger. It would be beneficial. And I believe also that when they exit that complex, they're supposed to make a right turn and not a left turn. If they want to go to Paramount, they're going to make that U-turn. They're going to make that turn. They're going to go on the freeway. I would do it. If I lived there, I would do it. Wouldn't want to break the law, but it's the reality of what people would want to do. If there's school events, for both schools, the school in Bell Gardens or the school on Suva, people, it's going to be even in the evening. It might be some kind of a meet the teacher event, a parent-teacher conference. So that'll be a mess during the week. And not to mention weekends of football games or birthday parties, Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthday parties. So everything, people will just be overcrowded all the time. It doesn't even have to be a special day. And if there's a fire in one of those complexes, so it'd be almost impossible. And if a car gets stuck there, it'll be a nightmare. So I am completely opposed to this project. I like the people that they say, okay, they want to buy a home, but it should be somewhere else. I think in place of the homes, it could be maybe a market or somewhere where a small store where the cars wouldn't be parked there at night, and no opportunity for people to steal cars or catalytic converters. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Ana Flores, and I actually do live in Downey. So I purchased my property in the island 19 years ago. I bought it because I love the privacy of the island. I drove around it, I loved it. You could see the community, the tight-knit, and I want it to continue that way. I work and live in LA. I was raised in LA, so I know what it's like. It's a parking lot, and I don't want that for my area, for my community. I'm concerned with the traffic, I'm concerned with the safety, and I'm also concerned with my property value going down. I wanted to retire in Downey, in the island, but if this happens, I highly doubt it. So I'm clearly opposed to this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That it? 65?
Hola, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Vianey Ortiz y estamos aquí. Tengo más de 12 años viviendo aquí en Downey.
She's lived here more than 12 years in Downey.
Algunos políticos me invitaron a la reunión en contra del proyecto de viviendas. Los escuché y yo no estoy de acuerdo. Yo estoy de acuerdo que hagan viviendas para la comunidad. Muchas gracias.
She was invited to a community event, and she's not with her neighbors on there. She's for this project. She's against the project.
She actually said that she was invited by politicians.
Oh, by politicians?
To be opposed to the project.
Who politicians?
Yeah, I don't know. She said politicians.
She said the politicians that she was, they invited her.
Okay, all right. Okay, we're going to keep going then. We're just going to get her on the record. Señora, usted está contra este proyecto, ¿verdad?
No, yo estoy a favor del proyecto.
She's in favor of the project. That's what I said.
No, but she says that she was invited by politicians to be opposed to the project, but that she's not opposed, that
She's in favor of it, right.
I'm just wondering what politicians is what we want.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, who's running for that office there that's in favor of this? Not me. Okay, 60 what? 66.
good evening. My name is Marta. I'm a resident of Downey, and I support the project because they give us the opportunity to buy homes to residents that we are renting and would like to be a homeowner. I think everyone in this place, they are a homeowner. And I think we have the opportunity, the people we're renting, to be one of them one day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. 67. How many do we have altogether? 70? I forgot. Lisa,
They lost count.
70, or this is it? 60?
One
Yes.
more, one
I'm
more.
sorry, 1 second, ma'am. How many? Yes, what? We're at 70. Okay, go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening.
Hi,
How you
good
doing?
evening.
I get everybody in the island. I don't live in the island, but I do live in Downey for over 10 years now. I'm constantly moving because of the traffic. That's one of the main reasons. I live in St. Gabriel. I live in Temple City. Then I got to work in downtown LA, so I moved closer in Boyle Heights, and I moved on Whittier Boulevard. I said, okay, I'm gonna make 7 minutes to my work now. And guess what? They closed the bridge. They closed the bridge, and then everything got messed up. The traffic to get to downtown was 40 minutes. I was 7 minutes away. So now the same situation I see over here, I get them. I totally get them. Unfortunately, we're growing. We're having more kids. Population's growing. Well, now they opt to get dogs instead of kids, but well, it's growing anyways. They need bigger spaces. They need more yards and stuff like that. But there's people that we don't have pets, or we don't need that yard because our kids are already grown. My youngest one is 10. And well, now I usually take them to the play area. That's why we have our parks. Many people just opt not to use it. I don't know why. Video games, I don't know. New generations, new choices. I do like the project. I really would love to own one of those houses. I'm currently sharing the house with one of my family members. And when I heard about this, I said, maybe this is the time that I need to move out. I'm currently divorcing, so I mean, it's a perfect opportunity for me. And I don't see why some of the community, if it's so united, don't be so selfish. I do understand their side. Traffic, it's everywhere. But we need to move on. I mean, you had to allow someone to actually build something there. The church wants to sell. And you had to understand that California grows. A lot of people move in. And as long as they are residents of California or of the area, we should be allowed to own a house in the area instead of just moving out to another city or another state, because I seen it. People, they say, oh, I'm moving out to Seattle. There's no traffic over there. The area is clean and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, but it's Seattle. Here we have the beach 1 hour away. Here we have the mountains 1 hour away. Anywhere we go, it's a different weather. So everybody wants to live in California, and you have to understand that we're growing. We're not making a smaller town. So we had to deal with the situation one way or another. So I do support the project. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next number? 68.
Good evening. How's everyone? Long night already, right? I'm Lauren, and my parents have lived in Downey for the past 30 years. I have lived in Downey myself, and in that house in Treasure Island. And I just want to be here to represent, I'm opposing this project because I support our residents of Treasure Island who have invested their time, their commitment to our community. They are willing to pay that extra premium to be part of Downey, to protect that city. And it is a desirable place to live because of its residents, because they're willing to work hard and invest in that city themselves, and they want to protect it. I totally understand the the desire to live in Downey for the affordable housing project, I understand that, but 700,000 is not affordable housing, not even 400,000. And that's gonna cause a lot more individuals and more families to come into that small pocket of area. Our police department, our fire department, our public works, they are hardworking, and they are definitely spread thin in our city already, and that area is still not getting a lot of support from all the traffic that is already there. And so the reason why I'm opposing it also is because we want to continue to make this a desirable location for our residents who have been here for generations, for many years. And if you're bringing all these amounts of people there, then it's just gonna congest it, and people are not gonna support and protect it and keep it the pristine that it is at Treasure Island. And I'm not sure if all of you guys have been able to be in at that specific area, but this is a really small pocket of Downey that has been protected. People love it. And they want to go see it because of how pristine it is, how beautiful it is, and it does sell the dream. But there's a price to our dreams, right? There has to be an investment, and people work hard for that. And I want to make sure that people that come to Downey, they understand that it's an investment, and our residents appreciate and want to protect our beautiful Downey to continue to make it desirable. Not to be congested, not to bring an overpopulation that's gonna continue to cause further issue, further distress to our residents who have made Downey what it is. The residents who have been there have made it desirable, have made it why people wanna be there, and why people will work harder to be part of that community. So again, I oppose this project, and thank you, and take that into consideration on your vote tonight. Thank you.
68, 69.
I think they ran out of numbers, but I was next, so.
Okay.
Thank you, commissioners, for your time. My name is Giselle. I am a resident of Downey. I also went to school in Downey, and I'm ready to actually make that next step to purchase my own home. So I've been, looking on Zillow, looking for homes to purchase, and unfortunately, at this time, there's very low housing stock in Downey. And so when I heard about this project, I mean, it sounds like an opportunity. It's an opportunity for me. It's an opportunity for many people. I've been hearing comments equating, bringing more people, and this is going to create more issues to the community, crime. I'm not a criminal, and I think it's offensive to call new homeowners that are interested in living in a beautiful city like Downey, to call them criminals, or to say that they're going to bring new issues to the community. These are projects that, as you know how every city runs, we need property taxes in order to bring more funding and more services to the city. And I think that this project is an opportunity also for the city as a whole. This is not just a project that is gonna affect or impact this island in particular. This is gonna be a project that's really gonna impact the entire community, the entire city. Through the property taxes, this is gonna give us more revenue for services, for senior services, for childcare or parks. And so I think this is a great project just overall. And the last thing I wanna say to all the commissioners here today is that this plot is zoned for housing. So regardless of whether we're looking at affordable housing or market rate housing, I don't think this is an issue of the type of housing. From the comments I've been hearing, it sounds like people are opposed to lower priced housing because they're scared of the people that might bring, or the prices that are too high. All I know is that right now, all the houses are expensive everywhere you go. And so 700,000 is pretty much mid, or 800 that's around the rate that you're looking at in nearby communities as well. So I am in favor, and hopefully, this is an opportunity that is gonna be open in the future. And I think that, I've been hearing that some of those studies have been made, CEQA, traffic studies. So I don't know, I didn't do those studies myself, but if those have already been made, and I'm sure by professionals, I'm hoping that those numbers are accurate. And if that is the case, I think that we need to look at the facts and not just, kind of what we've been hearing back and forth, but rather look at what's in front of us. The last thing I want to say is, if that wasn't clear, I do support this project, and I hope that this is going to bring new opportunities, new families, and people that really want to and care for the community of Downey. And hopefully I myself, who've been a lifelong resident, can stay in the city I grew up in. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, 60, 70. How many do we have altogether? That's it, 70?
Hi, mi nombre es Millie, soy residente de aquí de la ciudad de Downey. Tengo 15 años viviendo aquí en Downey.
She's a resident and has been here for 15 years.
Es una ciudad muy bonita, ha progresado bien mucho la ciudad de Downey. Y yo estoy de
It's a
acuerdo con
beautiful
el,
city and it's progressed really well.
yo estoy de acuerdo con el proyecto de las casas que quieren traer aquí a Downey, porque nos darían más de oportunidades, porque yo tengo hijos ya grandes y quieren comprar casa, no quieren salir de aquí de Downey, porque es una ciudad más segura.
This will give her an opportunity on there. She likes the city, and for her sons to be able to buy a house here in the city that they like.
Sí, para
I'm
mí
paraphrasing, by the way, sorry.
Para mí lo del tráfico, pues tráfico hay donde quiera. En todos los lugares que vayamos a vivir hay tráfico.
There's traffic everywhere you go, regardless of where
Sí,
you're going to live.
excepto yo vivo atrás de una escuela y hay tráfico. Donde quiera hay tráfico.
She lives behind a school and there's traffic there.
Yeah. Y pues yo estoy de acuerdo con el proyecto.
And she's in favor of the project.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so having no more, I'm going to close the public comment section of it. I know you guys, it's long. I need a minute and a half, okay? If we can take a recess on there, I apologize. Yeah, yeah. I did. We're gonna, well, no, we're gonna wait for our director, yeah. And where we're at in the part of the agenda, by the way, is this is the time for the applicant to have rebuttal time, for the applicant to come back if you have any rebuttals to any of those comments.
John Reekston with the Olson Company. I really just want to make one point. This is an incredible example of a state housing policy dilemma that the city of Downey is faced with. Ironically, because of state law relating to ADUs and now SB4, which benefits this site because it's owned by a religious institution, there are options to develop the site by right that are much more intense than what the Olson Company is proposing. This is not a threat. The Olson Company we do not build affordable apartments. Nonprofit developers do. We do not build homes with ADUs, which is a hybrid of rental and ownership. We don't do that. If we do not receive the necessary entitlements, we'll walk away. But it's important that the community know this because this is new law. This has come about in the last 7 or 8 years or so, and what it's done is it's intensified R1 zoning at a minimum for ADUs, and in some cases for religious and educational institutions. And the city staff, to their credit, said, okay, let's hire an outside group to take a look at this, and even though we disagree on the ADU scenario, validate what those options are. And again, in the SB4 example, there's no CEQA review required at all. What we did instead is we knew we were taking a tough path 15 months ago when we started this project. We knew we were going to be thoroughly scrutinized by staff review, CEQA review. We were going to have to provide affordable units, which does not benefit the bottom line at all. It's very costly, but it's a city ordinance, and we are providing those units. It is not a 100% affordable community by any stretch. Only 3 of those units will be affordable to moderate income buyers. That's very true. It's very difficult to provide a for sale community that has an appreciable number of units. It wipes out the land value. No land seller in the right mind would turn over their property so that I could build a for sale product and provide affordable units. But the city in its wisdom has said, look, for every new community that's approved, we're going to require 10% of those to be moderate income. So that's one way to help meet the city's RENA numbers. We simply wanted to point out the alternatives. It's a tough decision. It's different. It's a different decision than the city would have faced 10 years ago. But we earnestly feel, after over a year of outreach throughout the city, but certainly to the island neighborhood, that this is an alternative that will greatly benefit the area as a for sale product, and certainly much better than the likely alternatives. This will not be a church again. That is an existing non-conforming use. It's a 60-year-old building that cosmetically could be upgraded, but no other appreciable building on the site could occur. And the church tried to sell, the other church users were their initial potential buyers. None of them could come anywhere close to buying that lot. And we've been through this now a couple times, but I just wanted to reiterate those points, and thank you very much for your consideration.
Okay, so at this time, I am going to close the public hearing and start deliberation among the Planning Commission. So the public hearing is now closed. So I will give each commissioner an opportunity to give their thoughts. I'll go ahead and start with Commissioner Lujan.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. And it's late, we know that, and we appreciate sticking around and coming in and providing some feedback. We definitely take everybody's account, the information given to us, because we're also residents in Downey. We also live in areas that have traffic impacts, and from schools, from the soccer, from baseball, and the parks. And so we always definitely take that into account, because we definitely want to make sure that we're fair to everybody. And again, for us, for me, the project definitely is bringing something for the community, We know that people are saying that the traffic definitely, it will have an impact. I mean, I'm not going to deny it. I mean, anytime you have a housing project coming in, it's going to have an impact on it. But regardless, we definitely want to look, it's a new housing projects. They're going to be a scale that's going to, I think it's going to increase people's home values rather than decrease them. And I think the word affordability kept being thrown out there for everybody. It's not the whole project, it's just those 3 units. And again, you have to have a minimum required of an income to be able to qualify for those homes. Everyone else who makes X amount of money are not going to be able to qualify for those homes. So again, the younger people who are looking to buy homes in Downey, if they qualify, they're going to be able to have that opportunity to live there. And hopefully it's people who are within the community, family members who said that they want their kids living in Downey too. So I think definitely it's a positive thing for Downey, and the revenue that it will create, definitely, like some people said, that it was going to create for more resources. I think the traffic, I'm looking at the attachment D, and I think some of the alternates for the traffic, for the streets that we're going to be looked upon, I think that's going to hopefully have a positive impact, and hopefully it will improve with the signal, the stop sign, the bumps. I think people want those speed bumps. The public works is probably sure going to be looking at all that for them. So hopefully, at the end of the day, with the project and some street improvements, we'll have some positive things coming out of this project.
Thank you. Commissioner Morales, and then I'll go to Commissioner Cycling. Any comments?
No, I think the projects are. There you go. I think the project is a nice project, has good aesthetics. But like I said last meeting, there's some issues with it that could have been worked out to make it a better project. I know the state, with their constant mandates, as the applicant mentioned, are pretty much destroying single-family neighborhoods, and that's not a factor of us. That's something we have to react to the state. And looking at the alternatives, if the alternative was pursued, we wouldn't be approving ADUs here. All we would be reviewing and receiving is a tentative tract map for 12 units, whatever that's going to be, and the buyers would then develop the ADUs at their discretion. So there's a lot of issues that are mentioned here today, but that's the reality of it. It's a nice project. I like the way the building looks. The building massing, I think, is a little too dense, from a planning standpoint. The affordability component, that's there because of what the state requires. And what I found out, what I've seen throughout my years working planning is that affordability tends to go away. Banks don't honor or don't look at covenants when it comes to affordability, for the most part, based on what I've seen. So those units are going to become regular units at some point when they get resold or what have you. So that equity that's going to be established because it's affordable, it's pretty much going to go to the favor of the owner. So there's a lot of issues that could have been addressed. And again, it's no fault of. I appreciate what staff did. Staff's hands are tied based on what the state requires, and so that's the reality we're going to face now. But now going into the future. So, still at a pass on this. But those are my initial comments. I'll wait to hear some more comments from commissioners.
Okay, Commissioner Cycling.
Sure. First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I know it's not an easy solution. It's a very sensitive topic for everyone. 2 weeks ago, we had similar outpour. Tonight, we had almost the same amount of support as an opposition. Nonetheless, I believe this project will provide an opportunity for the first-time home buyers to buy a home in the city of Downey, and not only the city of Downey, but at Treasure Island in the city of Downey, and where you favor that island to yourselves, which is kind of nice that you live there. But why not give the opportunity for somebody else to do the same? To have a first home, to raise a family in that same location that you have raised your family and your kids. I believe this would be good for the community. The fact that it's going to create more traffic, I think there's an easy solution to that. I'm sure the Public Works Department will figure a way out. One of the ways is for the preemption device. It's not going to do anything to the traffic jam. Increasing the length of the green light to the traffic signal, that's not going to help either. What you want is study the traffic at the location where you're bottlenecking all the traffic, which is over the bridge to Guatemala. And I think there's a lot of easy solution to that. Aside from that, I think it would be a good project for the city. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I did take one more note. Of all the speakers that came here today, I counted those that were island residents and those that were not. I counted 29 that voted that were against it, that were island residents, and only 2 that were residents of the island that voted yes or were in favor for the project. Just to give you an indication. I was taking out who lived where and so forth.
Well, of the people that signed the signature on there, we looked at 4 pages today, and a lot of them weren't on the island either, just the ones that signed the signature. Just by cursory looking at them on there, I thought that was kind of a little bit the same way, So I'm sorry, we had a long public comment, so please bear with me. I want to recap some history not so long ago here in Downey. So when we wanted to energize the downtown Downey, we realized that we didn't have any housing components in downtown Downey. Housing is not an end-all to a successful downtown, but every successful downtown has a housing component. I'm not comparing downtown. Bear with me. So as mayor, I took a lot of criticism for when we built the View apartments that were going to be built in Downey. 54 units, affordable housing. All of them were affordable housing for rent. $24 million project. We borrowed some money from industry in the city of Vernon, that money that goes out for housing. It's a beautiful building that's still beautiful after 10 years. You're ruining our community. You're going to make us a slum. You're increasing traffic. You're allowing low income, and we're going to be the projects. Nobody will want to come to downtown Downey. People will move away from Downey. You should all have your head examined. Those are some of the emails and calls that I got. So let's fast forward to the View today. Only 2 residents have ever moved out in the 8 years of the project. They pay between $800 and $950 per month, so obviously there's an incentive for them to stay there. They stopped the waiting list of 450 people to come in, okay, the waiting list. They had over 1,000, and for years, only 2 people out of 54 units ever moved. Not only has the View not been an issue for downtown, it's actually helped having folks there living all day long. The same concerns were brought up when Olsen Homes wanted to build condos in downtown Downey. The Village Walk was built with a lot of parking concerns and safety concerns. There was a little house there with a whole bunch of feral cats in it, in that corner. The corner was empty except for the cats, and people there having these condos was going to create parking issues. It was going to be terrible for the community, okay? So fast forward on there, and I want to say this on there. I was part of the downtown subcommittee and helped write the specific plan that we have today. Towards the end of my term, I helped as much as I could to open the doors for developers, not specifically for Olsen Homes, but for all the developers to do exactly what Olsen did. You've seen some of the condos that they built, you see some of the other ones. I didn't know them except for the projects that we checked out as a city when I was still on the council, and they wanted to buy that project. So after they built this, so this was in 2017, so it's been 7 years. After they built that project on the Village Walk in downtown, in the very last phase, my daughter was looking to buy a house, okay? She couldn't afford it with her husband, and so I lent her the money for the down payment and worked it out. I paid for it and had internal financing. After a year, 2018, they wanted a bigger house, okay? That was a 3-bedroom condo, but it has 3 stories with a tandem parking the same way. They realized they wanted a single family and obviously as nice as Treasure Island, but they couldn't afford Treasure Island. They moved to live on Quill in South Downey. She bought the last Olsen home and she sold it for market price. She bought it for $538,000, and 1 year later, in 2018, she sold it for $590,000 in 1 year. Again, market price. There were 6 or 7 open houses on the house. It had tandem parking. It was all, it was like the last one, and it was like almost a last minute decision. So yesterday I looked at Zillow and I looked at that value on it, and it's $764,000. Okay, what it's worth today, 6 years later. Yeah, I kind of wish I would have kept it and rented it out or something. So that's the reality. The Patriot, the Downey Patriot, published a story just last week. The medium home market in the city of Downey is $864,000. So this is not affordable housing in any way, shape, or form, but it is expensive housing, and it's up there. Home ownership, as we know, is better for any neighborhood than rentals. There's a pride of ownership and maintenance and stability and respect for those living there in the long term. Something is going to get built here, okay? We all know that. The church is going to sell it, okay? The reason that we can't put anything or ask them to move over where the fire station was, we don't own this property, okay? We don't own where the fire station is. Parts of it is over there. Other parts that were brought up, we don't own it. The city of Downey does not own it, and we're not going to buy property so we can build housing for a developer. That's just, it doesn't make any sense. People want, okay, we want a park. Well, we have Treasure Island Park. They're just a couple hundred yards away. So this is not affordable housing. Something with $700,000 and some odd thousand is not affordable. Some of the numbers are right, but I still think it's more affordable than other things. But it's going to be families that have jobs, okay? It's going to be somebody that has an income enough to be able to pay that mortgage. So whether Olson does his projects or by the state or the county, it's not a threat. It will be built into something, okay? And it will probably be a developer on there that can pay the money that that church wants and needs, okay? If the church is selling it, you got to remember, we took a lot of people thought when Frantone's closed down to build a Chick-fil-A. Nobody wants another Chick-fil-A, but Frantone's came here and said, we want to sell our property. We want to retire. So it made it a lot easier for us to approve it. The owners of the church said they want to sell it, okay? They've made that decision clear. It's going to get sold. I don't think it's a threat. When you look at those apartments, trust me, I know the marketplace from that, and any economic developer or planner for any city knows that this is a good project. It just is. I drove by it several times in the past few weeks. I was there, today's Wednesday, so I was there Monday night, I was there Sunday, I was there Saturday, I was there with another couple and my wife on Friday night after we had dinner, and we parked down the street and see it. And by the way, that street there's no cars going there at 8:30 at night, okay? You got the apartments across the street with the kids with the music and the banda playing in the parking lot, which made it a little skeptical to me, and only because there was other things in the church parking lot going on. But if you look at this, I would want housing there. I would want 33 families there to be there, and they're watching this, okay, and being there part of that. That neighborhood is amazing. You are a victim of your own success because people do want to live on Treasure Island. I am one of those ones that gives you traffic because I ride my bike up there all the time. I literally go down the riverbed. I go on there. I go in and out, zigzag through the island. I did that last weekend. I understand and love the respect that you all have for the island. You've earned it. It's well-maintained homes, pride of ownership. You are to be commended for that. I remember working closely with the unity in the community, as some of you had mentioned. I went to many meetings there, and then when we were building the park, the design of that park is exactly what you all wanted, okay? We put the blank slate on there, and we said, what do you want? And you, the unity in the community, and all this thing, first of all, you wanted to put more lights. You want to improve safety. You want to start a neighborhood grove. All that, and in the park, we did that together. I helped. You guys did it because you're the residents and you love your community there. To build the park, you wanted picnic areas. You wanted some walking trails. You wanted a little kids things. You wanted natural planting. You wanted to be safe. We tried to do all those things, okay? I was so proud that my name was on that plaque that said mayor at the time when we did the ribbon cutting. Guess what? It got stolen, okay? It's not even there anymore, right? I drove my bike there the other day and I was looking for it, and then the things, they steal them all over the place. So when the island is a gem and you are a victim of your own success. So when I speak today about this project, I do so from the heart and with experience. And like I said, a good city planner, economic development personnel knows that this is a very good project. This doesn't happen all the time. Trafficism mitigation is something the city needs to work on, not in the future, but today. That needs to be fixed now, and it should be, and it sounds like staff is looking at it. And yes, this is going to bring some traffic more in the mornings and in the afternoons, but I'd rather have a few extra minutes and have that corner protected by 33 families living there just like the rest of us, right? So there was a comment on one of the social media strings from a lady that regarding this project that was in I think it was the Patriot social media story about this project or something. And I remember her name distinctly because she was very opposed to a 244 unit project that was affordable housing on the corner of Imperial and Garfield in the community of Southgate. She kept coming to the Downey City Council asking us to help them. And we got to go tell their city council what to do. And you can't have this because traffic and crime, 244 units on there. She posted on that Patriots ring, and her comments were, there's a 244 unit apartment building consisting of 2 and 3 bedroom units that was built near me. City residents, including myself, were furious. Everyone was sure it would cause horrific traffic, and she put in capitalized. You guys can look at it. It has not. We were all wrong, and we wasted a lot of time and energy complaining and being angry about nothing. So to say this with my final comments on there, this is a good project for the city, for our community. And yes, I really, truly believe with all my heart that this is a good project for the residents of Treasure Island. So when I do speak about this project, I do so from the heart and experience. Traffic mitigation is something the city needs to do, and yes, it's going to bring some more traffic. We just have to understand that, and we have to work hard on what it's going to be. I understand the traffic concerns. The city needs to mitigate this, not for this project, but now. I've listened to all the residents. Trust me, I've got a lot of calls and emails from all of you today, and from emails and calls. I understand your concerns. Home ownership is needed and wanted in our city. This adds to our city numbers on a vacant lot, basically. This project comes from a developer that the city knows and has proven itself before, and they're willing to make some changes there. If this isn't built, a lot worse. I gave everybody common courtesy, so I will wait for people that don't have the common courtesy to yell out. So this project comes from a developer that the city knows and has proven itself before. They're willing to make changes. So some lady that came here today from the HOA Association on there, and I'll tell you, my daughter was involved there for only a year, and I was really impressed with the mitigation and the issues that they do. They're not just somebody that's going to come in there. I think that Treasure Island would understand that. The Development Review Committee of the city, which I think is really important, it consists of fire department, the police department, the public works, planning, building, and safety. And they've provided conditions to ensure that this site is as safe as can be and the project has the least impact to the community. And it exceeds all our city codes. And safety is the most important element for our police and fire. So I can tell you that they don't sign off on things very easily. And there's been a lot of negotiations with the developer on this. So after taking all this consideration on there, I'm going to be voting yes on this project. And with that, I'll make a motion that we accept the items in the agenda as listed on here, those particular issues there. So
You want to state the motion?
I would like a second motion on that.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Cycli will second it. We can have some more discussion on it. Was there anything, Mr. Lujan and Mr. Morales? Okay. So, I'm sorry, go ahead. So having done that, do I have to recite all the numbers? Everything is in the agenda?
Yes, that would be our preference, Vice Chair Guerra, and also if you could provide clarification if you're also including staff's proposal for a revised condition of approval as presented on the dais.
Yes, I am making a motion for that, and it's for PLN 23-00035, adoption item number 1, number 2, number 3, item number 1, number 2, and number 3. So I will make the declaration, and are you willing to go along with the second on that, sir?
Yes, I do.
Continue on that. Okay, so we have a motion, a second. Do we have any more dialogue on this? So, okay, having none, let's vote. Is it going to come up on their screen?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the motion does carry 3-1, and this will be going forward to the city council for their approval. So, okay, we have some more on there. We have a non-agenda public comment at this time. Does anybody wishing, there was a yellow card, a non-agenda public comment? Oh, come up forward, ma'am. We are proud of you that you stuck it out, ma'am. I'm not sure what you're going to say, but
Me too, because I
good
get up
for
at
you.
4, so this is like midnight for me.
Yeah,
so
okay. So
And I think I'm in the-
we're all yours. You get 3 minutes, ma'am. We're all
I
here.
think I'm in the wrong class, but
Oh,
I'm
you
gonna,
get 4. You
Oh.
get 4 minutes because you are in a different class. You got yellow tickets.
Yeah, but I
Go
think
ahead,
I'm in the
ma'am.
wrong class based on what I'm here to talk about. But if I may, I'll still continue. I stand before you today as a concerned resident of 3 years and advocate for the safety of our community, particularly our children. Within these 3 years, I have witnessed a troubling trend of on Patton Avenue. And this is basically on traffic and with the speed bump.
Ma'am, on what street?
This is on Patton
Okay.
and Boyne. I live right on the corner.
Okay.
So I've witnessed quite a few things in just 3 years. I understand that it's been about 5 accidents. That may not seem like a lot, but we're not talking about Firestone or Brookshire. We're talking about a small residential area. And my ring catches every child that walks around everywhere, and we don't even have a sidewalk, which is fine, not a complaint. But even throughout the night, just not in the day, there's a lot of speeding going through. So I'm an environmental health and safety manager. I believe in being proactive, preventive maintenance, corrective actions. So why wait until something worse happens? One of those accidents was actually into the school and through the iron gate. So I can only imagine. My daughter's a teenager, so it's kind of like, well, what do I care? But I do. It doesn't have to be my kid in order to be a concerned citizen. But that's really it. And if this is not the place to do this, please guide me in the direction so that I can.
So sort of, okay? I mean, staff heard you and they will, deal with you and talk with you and so forth. It really is something more for for the city council.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we heard you and they'll take a look at it with our public safety. It's Patton and what?
Patton and Boyne is exactly on the corner where I live, but it's in between Stewart and Gray and Alameda, and it's by
Okay, I know
Alameda
exactly where you're at.
Elementary.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
So I appreciate your guys' time
No,
on
we
it.
appreciate you sticking around. So by the way, here's a trivia on there. Do you know why the street is named Patton?
I do not.
Okay, it's actually after General Patton. He used to summer in the city of Downey there after the war. And he used to come, there used to be a duck pond where the Coca-Cola plant is.
Oh, wow.
And he would come and summer there. So we named the street Patton.
All I know is about the carpenters.
It was worth the wait, ma'am, I know.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, for waiting it out. Is that something that you guys can
Could I
bring to
make a
some-
comment? I don't know if I have to go down there to make a comment, because I live near that street where she's talking about. Do I need to go down
No,
there?
you can, I don't
Or
know
can I
why.
just, is it okay, Mr. Funk?
I don't know why you.
Could you clarify what a comment regarding?
Regarding her comments. About
He
the-
wants
the
to talk
situation.
about that street
Yeah,
issue
just
there, the
because I
corner.
do live nearby it, and I do agree. I haven't seen those accidents, but I know that the street's pretty narrow, and there's a few trucks that park there, and again, I'm sure they're from the people that live there, but I think it's because it's pretty narrow. The traffic with the school, just like earlier we talked about our project. We live by, so we try to avoid. I always try to avoid that street pattern because it's the same thing. But I think it has to do because the street's pretty narrow.
Yeah.
So when cars are parked on both sides of the street, then you kind of pretty much you have to pull over to the side to let the cars go by. And if they're speeding, I think maybe that's where the issues become, especially during the school time. I completely avoid it during school time, in the morning or in the afternoon. I'll go all the way down Stewart and Gray to Brookshire, and make my ways that way. Even to go to the Downey Landing or the Promenade, I'll go to Stewart and Gray to basically to Lakewood Boulevard around just pretty much completely avoid it. So I can see that
Empathize, yeah,
happening because I avoid it so much. I haven't seen those car accidents, but I can probably believe. You said 5.
Yeah,
And that's kind of
I've
scary because
witnessed,
there's a lot of
so.
kids that walk, to the school. The parents are walking up to the school.
Ma'am, the one thing we can do is refer you to the person too. So Councilmember Horacio Ortiz is your council member. 904-7274. If you call 904-7274, if you call that number and leave him a message on there, he's really good about getting. So he will look at that. But the staff is now aware of it, and maybe they'll bring it to
And
us.
through the chair, thank you. I think that's a great contact. We have Lieutenant Rosario that's in the back of the room, ma'am, who is standing back there. He'll take down some information from you. And then we also have our Public Works Director present. So I think both of them would be able to talk to you in the back and help address the issues and the concerns and bring them forward.
I agree.
And I'll
You
touch
get
on
brownie
that too,
points for
okay?
sticking around
Yes,
3 or
you
4
do.
hours.
That's why-
And I
that's
know
what
he
I'm
looks
saying
like a
with it.
fancy businessman back there, but that's actually a lieutenant in the Downey Police
Yeah, I'm
Department.
going in late
Mr. Chairman,
tomorrow at
if I may,
work.
Mr. Chairman.
Start at
Let me-
5.
Thank
Let
you.
me get the
Yeah,
aerial just to expand on
Thank
what
you all. Appreciate it.
Commissioner Lujan said.
Oh, you're getting a lot of attention here.
So,
What happened?
so Patton and Boyne, that's
Boyne.
the street where it's like a horseshoe comes together, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
Cabell and Boyne come together and go into
Ma'am, that's
Patton.
going to get terrible in about 4 years when a 1 million square foot warehouse
No,
gets
that's
built
far.
down
No,
the
that's
street.
far.
It's
Far away
not that
from there.
far.
It is far.
Well,
No.
again, being proactive, getting in front of it instead
Good,
of the problem
ma'am,
getting
good.
bigger and worse.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
yeah,
for-
Thank you. And I'll let Horacio know too. He's the
Yeah.
one that appointed me to this position. So
Yeah.
I
I'll
greatly
let him know
appreciate that.
you're going to be calling him. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you.
You know, I would just add for the record,
We shouldn't do that.
Commissioner Lujan, if you would just clarify that your comments, or I'd invite you to clarify those comments were made in your individual capacity
Yes.
rather than on behalf of the commission. I think
Yes,
that would
and
be
that's why I
helpful to
said keep it going
clarify.
down there,
I understand you did that before, but just, for the record.
For the record, I walked back 4 times already. so
Our
yeah.
city
The last
attorney,
time-
always keeping us
Thank
straight
you.
and narrow. Thank you for that, Mr. City Attorney. Okay, so that was item number 21. There's no more non-agenda public comment. Okay, so consent calendar, we have no other business. Does the Community Development Director have any additional comments?
I do not, Chair. Thank you.
So I do one last one. I know it's late on there. I want to commend you and your team and your staff. I know that this was a tough project, a big project, 730 pages long.
Thank you,
And
Alfonso.
thank you, guys. I mean, you're not all the way home yet, but you guys got to first and you're rounding first and going to second. But thank you. You guys did an amazing job putting all this together and working to get a good project like this in Downey. So,
I concur.
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's tough when you have the other states working against it.
Okay, so having nothing else on there, our meeting is adjourned at 10:17. So how long was the public comment for? Did we do that under?